300.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Live at the Bike live stream. We got a 510 no limit going on here with William Hung. If you guys don't know who he is, well, neither do I. So if anyone does know, now is the time to chime in the chat. I'm hearing some things and some stuff. Ryan Feldman will be joining me. I am Gaurav Raina, a.k.a. Gary. Got a little hand going on here. Everyone's got an ace. It's a good card to have.
Nice.
It's all about that second card sometimes. Looks like William folded ace-9 offsuit. I wasn't expecting that.
Nice bluff. Way to start the show. Queen deuce.
And Noah folding a hand I wouldn't fold personally. I think it's a little too good. Ace-10 suited, even out of position. It's got some playability.
Like that. See what
it's got a little bit of removal to it. Our opponent,
trying to get you to show
that must be Tim. Thank you, Tim, for the schooners of Blue Label. Much appreciated. Both Gary and Gaurav are grateful.
He knows he's not going to get cards.
What is it? It's 50, 20. It's 50, 25 for the first half, 50 for the game.
The 3-bet there is a little bit on the loose side, but that's how this game plays in general. Having an ace is a nice card.
50. I would never bet that. No.
It looked like William Hung wanted to put the foot on the gas, but it's early. They're just getting started. He's going to wait and maybe peel a hand on the button here.
Just rather not bet it. Rather pick a better spot.
So we got Dave under the gun limping in.
Fourth quarter is usually, the most
Jerry's going to overlimp on the hijack. And
plus overtime.
William makes a raise with a legitimate hand here. Both other players may be on the loose side. Both hands definitely playable in circumstances.
Fucking David, huh? Taking down the fucking heads up. Motherfucker. David, huh? I had him eliminated in the first round in my bracket.
What did you play in the first round?
Me?
Interesting flop here. Dave flops 2 overcards and a gut shot. And William has a backdoor flush draw with 2 overcards, dominating Dave's hand. This texture is not very good for him versus his opponent's range. It is pretty close, but I think it's a little bit better for the limp caller from under the gun.
Against Brian, I had an interesting hand.
It's another interesting card. Now William has the nut blocker club in the event that a club shows up. He also can represent some other type hands with this 10 blocker and a spade blocker as well. So now he has the nut blocker and the straight blocker. This is a good time for him to do something. Now, maybe that's just call. Probably not on this board. It kind of sucks when your opponent's going to have a lot of hands like 9s, 5s, 6s, 7x sometimes, and potentially club hands, 2 club hands. So you got to pick your spots for the raise, and William opts to not make that raise. I myself, if I did play the hand this way, which is very possible, would have not been able to control myself. I would have had to represent top vote there and hoped my opponent has a hand that he's going to fold. Maybe something he bet for thin value, like second pair on the board.
You guys never played the third and fourth. The guy that like never smiles.
Stack depths are always relevant, so depending on how much you can raise to is very significant.
Yeah. Third and fourth. And then Brian and Dan Zach.
What about me?
I've actually never seen you play, so I can't comment on this situation. Sorry about that.
Let me know next.
So in seat 1 we have Antoine, bought in with 3,000. Jerry in seat 2 looks like he also bought in with 3,000. Dennis in seat 3 with 3,000 as well. William in seat 4 also bought in with 3,000. Noah, it looks like, you know what, guys, everyone bought in with 3,000. So we got Antoine in seat 1, Jerry in seat 2, Dennis in seat 3, William in seat 4, Noah in seat 5, Tim in seat 6,
Oh my God.
Dave in seat 7, CEO in seat 8, and Johnny in seat 9.
What are you doing?
Everyone's going for the Vikings.
Why? This is a touchdown.
Looks like a little flop straight there for Dennis,
I just want to
the menace.
Yeah, I'm over.
It doesn't look like he gets touched to me.
He's going to go ahead and make the C bet
think
here.
Vikings would be amazing, but I don't expect
Reasonable sizing on this board.
I'll be very happy with the
Noah
over.
may be in some trouble.
Got 49.
That's right, guys. Top and bottom pair. It's a really good hand, especially on a board like this against a pre-flop razor.
What's the problem with that?
When you call it these type of hands, you think that when you hit your hand, you're almost certainly good to go.
No. No, he doesn't touch
You
him.
can't tell him that.
You got to figure he's going to make the raise.
Anyways, they called him down, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I
You
mean,
can't challenge that, can you?
I think that you have to.
I don't think you can challenge that.
And I have apparently all of that backwards. So it was a raise from Noah on the button
I mean,
already.
there's nothing there.
And Dennis now 3-bets the flop with the 4-2 suited. Can't blame him for it.
No, I'm not.
In this type of a situation, your opponent almost certainly has 2-pair or a set. Now Dennis has a straight. Not so likely that he's up against 7-4, although it's possible. Most likely the hand would be suited. Doesn't leave many combinations of better hands than his. Noah could also have draw-type hands, and Dennis is extracting from those.
Take it, Fiji. Two Fiji.
He also may not want to just call and have it go check on the turn if Noah did have a draw-type hand.
Where is it?
A bunch, I guess.
Is it possible to actually get a card made? Okay. Thank you.
And Noah makes the call. It doesn't really do all that much for him to jam here. If Dennis did have some air, he's just going to fold it, and he's capable of having some air. Interesting check from Dennis. A very wow spot here. So if you're Noah, this is really difficult to deal with because there's a lot of hands you want to take a free card with. This may be one of the last ones in his value range that he wants to check back. So if he was going to jam a hand like 7-8 of clubs on this turn, which seems reasonable, he might have to mix in some of his weaker but still very strong holdings. And in this case, out of value hands of sets and straights, top and bottom is one of the weaker holdings. I think he should have just went ahead and got all in there. He's not going to fold to a jam here, but he's creating an awkward river situation by making this bet because if he does get called and a club rolls off and he gets jammed into, it really sucks. And he's probably going to have to call it off. In this case, he is against a straight. He's going to make the call, obviously. And he's peeling the 4-outer. It does happen from time to time. Not this time. That's going to scoop it.
That's it?
Both players playing very marginal, suited, trashy connected gappers, and both of them smashing the flop. One of those hands better than the other. So when you think about if I hit this hand against my opponent, it's going to definitely be a crusher. This is the type of situation you need to look back on and say, well, you know what? He's doing the same thing too. I'm not expecting him to have the 4-deuce. And you know what? Lo and behold.
I thought their pre-flop hand selection was pretty standard. Am I on? Yeah, I'm kinda on. Yeah, I thought it was pretty standard.
Sure. I mean, together they have almost a straight between their 4 cards.
Yeah.
They have almost a flush if like it's red and black.
What are the
which
odds
is
that
flushes.
when two players get to the flop with deuce 4 and 3-6, the flop comes out 3-5-6? It's pretty hard to do.
Fucking sick, actually.
It's hard for deuce 4 and 3-6 to cooler each other, but it happens.
Are you countering what I just said?
I don't know.
Maybe a little bit.
But Dennis the Menace, look at that face. It's the face of a guy that just won a 6K pot.
Yes, it is. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Thanks.
Nice of you to
Thanks for having me.
show up. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Enjoy those blue labels.
You guys like the way I played it?
Oh man, I can't touch them yet. I've already been messing around with the IPAs. I gotta just take a minute. I have been over-consuming water to compensate because I feel like by the end of the stream I'm a little bit sloppy. So
you'll be
gonna
dry
try.
and have to peel it.
Thought he was stronger. I didn't think he was.
If you guys are here for the strategy, make sure you take it in now because by the end of the show, when
just got another check,
Gary
or
is
that's it.
2 blue labels and a beer in, he may be saying things that don't make sense.
Bet that, if I bet that
When Ryan says 1 beer, he really means,
it's 2 pack. He has a set he's on.
I guess 4. Yeah, this is number 4.
Oh, you're already on 4.
Yeah, I'm on 4.
Oh wow. Okay.
I tried to get some value before the show.
Yeah, I guess I don't keep track of how much people are in for before the show.
That's a PT, right?
So this is Tim right here making his second appearance on the show in seat 6. Tim is great action. He's aggressive, super fun. I like to call him Tim Dwan.
That's actually pretty funny. Tim, also my Blue Label hero. He's always buying me Blue Label these days. And in this case, he did get one for Ryan, but Ryan is not thirsty. So
Well,
we're gonna pass that one on to Gorov.
I just would enjoy carrying Gorov, drinking them more. And I heard that Tim won a big pot against you after the show a few weeks ago.
Yes, it was miserable. I flopped top 2 against bottom set, and I'm pretty sure that I was blacked out and don't remember it until like the next day when I was told. There was one hand that I couldn't. I was like, where did 10,000 go? I literally was like, okay, so I lost the first like 3, and I know how I lost that. And then I knew I had lost 10 more, and I had to go back to my box to go get more chips. And the next day I was like, I know I got coolered. I'm pretty sure I got coolered, but I couldn't remember it until.
So you may not have gotten coolered. You may have just stacked up light.
No, I remembered after Tim told me he had like the set of 6s. I was like, oh, I had the queen 10.
Yeah.
Then it clicked in my mind. I was like, it was like more of like a brownout than a blackout.
That makes sense.
But I just had no idea. I knew that like I had secured it in my mind that what I did was perfectly fine, and I wasn't worried about it. But that was like hard to deal with the next day when I was like, well, how do I know that my rational judgment was okay at that point in time where I can make that kind of an assumption about what I did when I'm like, 17 beers deep and a couple of shots of Blue Label.
It's a cooler at that point. Okay, we have a hand brewing here. So Dennis, after winning that big pot, limped in with ace-3 suited in the hijack, and Tim raised the button with queen 7 suited. Dave flatted the small blind. Dennis comes along. We get this flop where everybody has a little something, and Dennis check raises after Tim bets and Dave calls. Now Tim calls the button, and now it's on Dave, who has the best hand with a pair and an open-ender. And Dave is going to come along as well. So we're going 3 ways to the turn. We got a pair and an open-ender, just an open-ender, and nut flush draw with a gutter.
Everybody's wondering who's got what. What are you guys doing? They're all looking at each other. You ever been in these 3-way hands where everyone is like, wait, we're all still here? Like, who? What hand do you have? Somebody's got a draw. Somebody's got a good hand potentially, and like I have a queen in my hand. Like I don't know. What do I do here? So everyone checks it through on the turn, which makes perfect sense.
Dennis turns a pair to go along with his flush draw, so he decides to not bet the turn. The river's deuce of spades, so queen jack is still the best hand. Dave with the best of it, but it's going to be hard for him to bet when it gets check raised in the flop, so he checks, which makes a lot of sense.
And I don't think he should. And it's an interesting situation when you look at Dave's hand, where he does have a straight blocker and a flush blocker, but once he checks the turn, or actually he was out of position, so this would be an interesting spot for a potential check raise.
So Dennis is going to turn his 3 into a bluff and bet 600.
You go all in?
And Tim shoves all in with queen high.
Well, it's Tim. He does these things.
What a sicko.
This is why I'm not folding top 2 to this guy.
Lucky? Lucky run out?
What a sicko. All in with queen high. Gets the best hand to fold. The second best hand is in the tank.
Might be good.
This is not a good hand to call with.
And he shows the bluff.
Oh, God.
Wow.
As well he should. When you bluff one player, it's rude to show a bluff. When you bluff 2 in the same hand on the river, it's glorious. Just let them both know that they both did it wrong.
I thought you had
Tabled, face up. Check it out, guys. One of you could have won because you both had a better hand than I did.
I'm not feeling it.
just in case you
Let's
had
do
like
one. Let's
queen
do one
jack.
round.
Oh, okay,
One
okay.
round?
One, okay, all right.
Should have. No, actually, if I punt the flop, you're calling.
Huh?
You're calling the flop, all in.
Yeah, absolutely.
You already have 2 pairs.
Yeah, like
Gut
ace-3 of
shot- gut
diamonds.
shot with
Ace-3 of diamonds.
Ace 3. I had the nutted. Nutted flush.
Oh wow, I would have won.
With the
Just
gut.
go- I had jack queen.
Straddle.
I would have definitely called.
I scooped with the jack.
You want to
Yeah.
leave Dennis or
He's
not?
probably gonna call too.
Yeah.
Double
Good
shot.
shot, though, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if he's calling.
I don't know. It's hard for him to call there.
So William with pocket queens. So we have a round of straddles here, and Dennis puts in a blind
open.
raise to
Let's go.
40 under the gun.
Let's go.
And William
Money in the bank right
with
there. No
pocket
flag.
queens makes it 150. So you really don't know who William Hung is.
I forgot to look back at the chat to see what they had to say.
You still
I
don't
was
know.
busy.
So William Hung, have you ever heard of American Idol?
I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
So
Maybe once.
on one of the first seasons of American Idol, William Hung was famous for an audition where, you know, they have the auditions, like the outtakes.
Yeah.
So he sang Ricky Martin's She Bangs. This is back in
I think
04.
I think I've actually seen that.
And it got really, he became infamous for that audition, for the not so great vocals, and the judges were laughing, and it became a thing, and he capitalized off that fame. He ended up making some albums off of it. You know, he became really famous, made some money off of his lack of singing ability, according to the American Idol judges. But he ended up being a singer, and was really popular in a funny way. And now, you know, he plays poker a lot at the bicycle here. This is his first time alive at the bike. Does some motivational speaking, and he also has a day job as well.
You can play till they come.
You can play till he comes.
So this is William Hung,
And now I'm caught up with the story.
more than 10
It's
years
actually
later.
very interesting.
Yeah.
So it looks like you said Dennis had made the blind raise, and then William Hung had 3-bet the queens here.
Yep.
And it looked like he'd c-bet the flop, which I think is completely reasonable. It's a good turn for him. This is one of those spots with queens where I probably would sometimes bet, sometimes check, and sometimes do it with or without a club.
Yeah, on Tuesday he's like, he said,
I'm not really going to be representing many flushes on the river, but I will represent the big hands like ace queen, ace jack, maybe a slow played ace ace. So we're not too worried about a club coming off, because when we do have a really big hand, we're just not folding it in this type of a situation, even though our opponent can sometimes have a flush. In this case, he would have had a flush if a club did roll off, which would have sucked for me if I was William Hung and a club came off, because I'm going for it. It wouldn't be an overbet situation, obviously, because we don't really have any flushes or many flushes, and we don't really want to be representing the nuts on a board that has an ace of club and a king of club on it, because it's a very limited amount of queen x of clubs that we can have that would be the nuts.
No, but he's using your chips.
So C1 is Antoine. He's been on the show a handful of times before. He had a YouTube video one time where he tried to bluff Chris and it didn't work. It was over a year ago. Antoine's made at least a half dozen appearances on the show. Seat 2 is Jerry. Jerry has played a lot of live at the bikes over the years. Regular here at the bike. Seat 3 is Dennis the Menace. Made a nice run, made it to the semis in the Heads Up Classic. Seat 4, William Hung, former American Idol legend.
What is William Hung doing nowadays?
I do speaking and entertainment.
Speaking.
Yeah.
Wow, you speak?
Yes.
better than you sing?
Better than I sing.
What type of entertainment? Well,
entertaining story.
Okay, all right.
So you do like public speaking, or is
Yeah, public speaking. Yeah.
Okay, like motivational.
Yeah, inspirational. Yeah.
So you have like a book or something now, or yeah, you have like
I speak at like global conferences. Yeah.
105. Pretty cool. You just travel around for that.
Yeah.
Karaoke legends.
I usually
What's your going
my
for
secret
karaoke?
recipe is I usually sing at the middle of my speech.
Wow. I'm guessing it's Ricky Martin.
Yes, it is that one.
I figured famous.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Karaoke circuits?
I'm a big fan
No,
of
I would
holidays.
consider, yeah. Thank you.
So Dave limps in the hijack with 8-9 off. Johnny raises it up. Dennis calls, and Dave's going to put in the limp raise to 400. What do you think of this play?
Not good. The 9 and the 8 block the 9 8 offsuits everyone else could have. So maybe pick a hand with like an ace or a king or a queen or a jack or a 10 would be better. Or maybe suited would be a little bit more appropriate. The 9 8 off probably should have folded pre-flop and then folded to the raise. But you know what? YOLO. Let's see if he can do
YOLO.
it.
That's right.
Because if Dennis flops a set, then Dave could have a draw.
Yeah, or you could have a straight.
First player checks.
It's true.
No, not in the real world.
5, 6,
No,
7.
not in the real world, buddy.
What about this flop? Yeah, flopped him. He won the flip. Dave won the flip.
Queen Jack again?
1/3 of the, or what is it like? Is it a third of the time you'll flop a pair, or a third of the time you'll hit the flop? What is
No,
that?
it's 60% of the time it works every time.
Yeah, that sounds. I'm sold. Where do I sign? So now, if you're Dave, this flop actually really sucks for what kind of hand you're representing. So if he's going to continue to tell a story here, a little bit silly.
That one's good. There's good.
Well played by Dave.
Basically saying I have aces or ace king, and I hope you don't have 10-9 or queen jack, or a hand like queen 10, queen 9 suited, king queen suited, king jack suited, jack 9 suited, jack 10 suited, whatever, that are gonna like either have a better hand or make a better hand or find a bluff to make later. It seems like the kind of situation where you're gonna want to be betting your biggest value hands and be checking some of the others. Now I assume he could maybe have a hand like tens. Obviously he could have kings if he's really balancing with value. So those kinds of hands could bet. But maybe you want to trap with kings sometimes. It seems like the kind of flop where if you have queens or jacks, you wouldn't want to bet. So to be putting out a bet on this flop with aces would be, reasonable, but maybe a little bit over-aggressive because that hand plays better as a back two-street turn river value bet hand for the most part, in my opinion. Although I also don't know how to play against the limp re-raise from the hijack.
I think what you don't understand, Gary, is that if it works, it's a good play. Right? If you flop the best hand and win the hand, it's a good play. So Andy's bluff against you was a good play because you folded. If you had called, it would have been a bad bluff.
So I got a text from one of my friends that morning. He just texted.
Hold on a second. We got a hand brewing here.
We got
this
a straight.
This is what you call a cooler turn.
Straight.
This is a cooler turn. We got the nuts versus the not
and
nuts.
it's the super cooler because it's Tim who's always bluffing, but right now he's nutted.
You're the. I'm definitely down to you.
So weird that there's two guys in the same spot.
But I still love the action.
It's a really weird play, right?
Yeah, why they're
And
yeah.
that's not going to help Antoine at all.
If Tim bets this river, it's going to be impossible for Antoine to fold.
And I assume Tim's just going to put them all in here.
No, well they're way too deep. 2,700 back, only 600 in the pot. You don't. Not normal people go with a 4x bet. Like that's not normal. Maybe you do that.
You guys can't see me right now, but I'm actually pushing air chips like over and over again into the air.
It's the poker
into
equivalent
pot.
of the air guitar.
Just ripping it in. In this situation,
Wait a minute.
only one player can have ace king, and therefore take advantage of this spot and use some of your king X's to bluff here, because you're blocking the king 9, which is the only hand that your opponent's really going to be happy about calling with. Obviously, in this game, any 9's not really folding, but at the same time, it's. Do we talk about this game, or we talk about poker theory, or just kind of mix it in? I guess we're sprinkling everything in right now. So Tim makes a big bet, and actually makes a really small bet,
Oh, yeah.
which is interesting, and he gets called. He's gonna get paid here.
It's a good day.
I guess maybe Tim's thinking he wants to make sure that hands like two pairs call him.
Shout out to Rick and Barstow, 35 months on Twitch, 9+ years live at the bike subscriber. Rick and Barstow. And Jerry going to raise it up from the cutoff with king 8 off. Dennis flats the ace 4 of diamonds. William in the swap line with ace 10. This is probably a 3-bet or fold spot, right?
I don't think that's necessarily true at all. I think he can flat here. I would probably lean towards 3-betting a little bit more frequently now that there's a raise and a call. I would 3-bet the button with ace 4 suited if I was Dennis, and I would definitely be 3-betting out of the straddle.
Wouldn't you
with
think
ace queen.
flatting for ace 10 would be worse than folding or calling?
I think 3-betting's fine. I think flatting's fine. I think folding.
No. No way.
If I had to distribute
No,
it, I would,
no,
I would
I'm
say
not
like,
putting 400 deuces there. No.
like 30, 50, 10. That doesn't add up to 100.
What's the
30,
other?
35, 55.
The other 10 is go back to math class.
No, I wouldn't want to fold that hand very often, but I do fold that hand sometimes if I think my opponents are going to be playing particularly over-aggressive post-flop,
Yeah.
and I can't realize my equity with top pair very
Out of
often.
position too.
Yeah, exactly. Then I'm gonna be more inclined to hit the fold button. But then if I think my opponents will fold too much, because they're raising and calling too light, then squeezing is nice. And if I think I'm playing against two very well put together players, then I'm very often going to hit the call button in that spot.
Interesting the respect Tim just gave William Hung. Tim just folded from the Strato with ace queen of hearts to William's 3-bet.
Gabe has been snuffing me lately.
Oh, so William did 3-bet. I didn't
William
see that.
3-bet.
I thought he had called. And
Yeah.
and no, I would no. You can't. You have
Can't
to
fold
just-
ace queen.
No, you can't. No, you can't. It's too good, guys. It's too good. It's ace queen, and ace queen sucks a lot, but not when it's suited. All right.
But
You get
interesting
like,
that
you
that's-
get like 1.5%.
That's Tim's impression of William Hung, that he's only 3-betting really strong hands. And I think that most people will look at William and just think that he's some tight knit. And he's able to be aggressive a lot of times. I played with him once, and I realized that he has this aggressive nature to him, and people don't give him credit for it.
So he's actually a tight knit. So he's a knit but tighter than how tight is he?
Oh,
He just showed up with ace 10 there. It looks like he's just tight. I don't even know if you could say knit.
What?
A knit would maybe consider flatting or folding there, but
Yeah.
he 3-bet it.
So he's aggressive.
He's tight.
The value.
Tight aggressive.
Tag.
He's tag. Yeah, he's taggy.
Taggy.
I'll go with that.
Dennis is going to get paid here with pocket queens against Dave's ace 9. Dennis the Menace, ladies and gentlemen.
Already stacked up. He put the cooler on, was it Dave? Or no, was it not Dave?
That was on Noah.
It was on Noah, that's right. He put the cooler on Noah. He flopped the straight on 6-5-3, 2 clubs, 1 heart, with deuce 4 hearts against 6-3 of diamonds. That's good game money for all of us. That's a spot where everybody is fist pumping the money in.
Even Radley.
Yeah, he wants like to play for the whole time or not.
Radley's looking for something. I don't know what it is. Oh, she sees the doors cracked open. She's like, "Can I leave?" I mean, you got to do what you got to do, Radley.
She's like, I've had enough.
Straddle.
She wasn't fast enough. I have rolled chair to the door and shut it.
By the way, Johnny Moreno is in the building. Johnny Vibes in seat 9. If you haven't heard, you know who he is.
I feel like I've commentated his poker play once or twice, but should I know his background?
No, he's just a poker guy. He
Okay.
has a very popular poker vlog on YouTube. That's V video log.
I've
And,
probably seen it.
yeah, it's Johnny Vibes.
Ever think about
So
going out
anybody
for
in the
dinner
chat here for
sometime?
Johnny Vibes? Any fans?
No.
X Factor?
I don't think. I didn't see a point of
You
going
should be on
back.
Dancing with the Stars.
All right.
That would be fun. No, seriously.
So we got a raise from Dennis on the hijack. He's going to get called in 2
Oh my
spots.
goodness.
Great flop for Dennis.
Dave in the big blind with 7s. Johnny with 9-8. And yeah, Dennis did flop pretty well here. Unfortunately, no one else really has anything. And on a board like that, you're salivating because you expect your opponents to have, if not a pair and a draw, maybe a flush draw, maybe just an ace, just a naked ace that's stubborn. One time for the kid, not this time. Just going to take it down. It's frustrating, you know, like
See you tomorrow.
when you play these hands and you're hoping to flop pretty well, and you do, and you're in a really loose action game like this, and everyone just like snap folds to the flop C-bet. Sad times, man. Sad times.
Stupidest.
Do you prefer a naked ace or an ace with its clothes on?
I mean, there should be like a rule, like you're late.
Depends on what gender.
Lost your seat.
Lightning a lot, too.
Yeah, it's
Spades.
Theo, like this Abe.
Is that a gender?
Yeah.
He's late by like 30 minutes, too. It's not like...
We'll go half
Players
naked.
have no say.
We go half naked.
Can we protest?
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's pants on.
You guys wanna,
No, I have no idea. Yeah, keep the pants on. Let me see what's going on here.
strike. We're on strike.
Abe.
I mean, I guess if you're gonna have the naked ace, you might as well have it with a queen.
I was about to go on strike.
I just saw
Get the
it.
big
That was
rack.
funny. You said that. I saw it on the
I'd love to
thing.
see a
We
queen
move
with a
on.
naked ace.
Yeah. We move on.
You get a karaoke machine.
Anyway, no idea what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, we're spitballing here. We got post-it notes in the chat here.
I know traffic is
We're gonna
bad, but
convert some of these thoughts into poker rap lyrics one day.
Yeah,
The
it
floor
was
went
really
crazy.
bad.
What?
We had the entire rap game here last Friday.
I know. Prahlad, Puya, and Adam 22.
Amazing. Nobody even put out like a rhyme at any point in time, which I was
That's
surprised.
crazy.
I just made it. I was an accident, guys. I didn't mean to say rhyme at any point in time. It was just kind of.
Oh, sick. I told William Hung when he wins a pot, he has to start dancing and do the she-bangs dance. Gotta see it.
Can he dance?
I mean,
I'm used to that. So.
like,
Can he sing?
can you play poker?
Oh my God. All right, that's it for me, guys. I'm out.
Gary Reina, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, of course. He's an entertainer.
You get to get the yellows back. It's kind of a rebate.
I feel like right now we're the entertainers, so
Speak for yourself.
I guess that's fair. What a flop here. Dave with a gutter and a backdoor flush draw. Johnny with nothing but the bluff.
Johnny probably picking the wrong opponent to bluff. Dave very savvy at picking these things off.
So it looks like Johnny 3-bet pre and is just going ahead and c-betting this flop.
Interesting. Button versus small blind. He knows Dave plays a lot of hands, and so he decides to 3-bet this spot. And look at this. Dave plays back at him and makes a raise. No. I thought he did. Sorry.
Yeah,
He
no,
calls.
I'd rather see a call, honestly.
Oh, I thought he raised.
I think the raise is a little bit over-ambitious on a super draw-heavy board in position against an opponent who has generally a capped type of range in a lot of turns. So the turn 5 is going to be better for Dave than Johnny, but if Johnny does have overpairs, this is a great turn because Dave's not going to have too many 5s.
This is a cool play by Johnny because his opponents have to give him respect the way he plays, the way he carries himself. You know, he has that tight, solid image, and people aren't going to expect him to have a complete airball like Queen High here against a maniac like Dave.
He should probably check this turn. Betting the flop was a little bit on the loose side, but a little bit on the reasonable side as well. I would like to have a club on the board when I bet the flop.
Oh, you're wrong. It worked, so it's a good play.
Well, he also folded out a worse hand, so. Well, it's
It was value bet,
bittersweet,
actually.
bittersweet.
It was a value bet.
He was value betting. He didn't know that, and it's you know, sometimes you want to know if you're folding the best hand on the river with kings, and you know, not everyone can know these things.
What
We're not
would
all
you-
sorcerers?
I'm just thinking, what would you compare in the real world to value betting by accident?
In the real world?
Yeah.
It's not about shoving.
I haven't thought of anything yet.
Like finding a tricycle.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the start of it. Like finding a tricycle has to be part of that, right? Because you'll never have. No, I'm sorry. I meant unicycle. That's what I really meant. A unicycle, not a tricycle. And I don't know where to go with that quite yet because I mean, as you can see, I had said tricycle when I meant unicycle. So how thoughtful can I be at the moment? And you know what? Is it time
There
for this
you
blue
go.
label?
Go for it.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's all about
You can give one to
togetherness.
the dog, I guess.
It's all about togetherness.
You want to give one to the dog?
No, you always punish me. in
No, I
this
don't
situation.
actually. I don't.
I'm turning
Doggies
the
are
tables on you
forever.
For once.
And these shots are for right now.
You want to sit here?
All right, so we're actually Uncle Abe's going to come in here and spice this game up, and we're going to let him go. We normally don't let players change seats because we do a random draw at the beginning, but Uncle Abe can't see from the 8 seat, so we're going to let him go to the 5, and Noah's going to go to the 8.
What's that? You want some pretty ladies? What else do you want? Come on.
So Uncle Abe, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, okay.
I've played with Uncle Abe, I think it was 2 or 3 times, and very nice guy, very calm and collected, and he likes to play. He likes to gamble. He's in there. He's not shy, and he'll definitively keep his chips in the rack, win or lose. If he does win a lot of chips, he's going to have a lot of racks in front of him, physical racks. Taking a look at the chat. Gary, how do you read Andy so well? You fold kings to a6 for 80K and then call quad 5s with 2 jacks. Thank you, Wisco Baron, or whatever your name was. The answer is, you're right. I do read Andy perfectly, and it's actually just a big sim that's loaded to tilt all of you against the way I play. I've been planning this out my entire life. All I've wanted to do forever was fold the best hand and call it the worst just to make people upset. It looks like it's working.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
But to be more serious, when Andy does put in the, by the way, everyone, it was not a $33,000 river bet. It was a $37,500 river bet.
That's pretty sick, Abe.
My hand in my range becomes very borderline at that point in time. I didn't know what to do. Hence the throwing my hands in the air and laughing and shrugging and looking away. I just don't know. It's so close that I don't know which way to deviate. Is he bluffing too much? Is he not bluffing enough? And that's kind of the spot I'm in. When Andy had quads and ice hand, Andy, I call. I have queen jack. You win. That was an easier one.
Oh yeah, that was a fun hand.
I took way too much time. I was trying to like you
were net rolling a little bit.
Because it was Andy. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna make a mistake again. And so I was like really trying to make sure, but I didn't like just kind of like wing it. And I made what was the correct play in my ranges. Not even close. Have to call.
It's always fun when you fold when you should call and then call when you should fold. It's always fun.
I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It happened then. It's going to happen again. Hopefully not against Andy. He's enjoying it too much.
If you're a good player, you're going to get people to make bad decisions sometimes. Not bad, but the wrong decision sometimes.
I feel like, I don't know, there's got to be somebody at the table that I'd be happier like making mistakes. There's got to be at least a guy or two.
Abe.
There you go.
I don't know, man. I kind of like the way things are going when I play against Abe. Like maybe someone like
Nick.
Nick. Yeah, like someone like Nick. I hope that like if anyone's going to cool me out for stacks, and he's done it before, and let him do it again. If someone's gonna cool me out for stacks or put me in a bad spot when he has it and I have a hand that's borderline, I would love for it to be Nick. You know, just because his general attitude towards the game is so fun-loving that to lose to him, he wouldn't feel differently like towards me in general as a person or as a poker player. He would just kind of like laugh and like, you know, go along with the life that he's living, you know, where like a lot of other guys are going to hold that against you. I did play Art Papa Z heads up on Global last night for like a minute.
He just said, Gary, thanks for the heads up action. I need the money.
Who's that?
Art.
Oh my
He's in the
God!
YouTube
Yes.
chat.
I didn't even know, and it's hilarious timing. Yeah. So Art Papa Z is playing heads up. I was playing heads up against Art Papa Z, and he hit me with the "Go away, man." We had 2 tables of heads up going when there's like no other.
You guys knew each other's names?
Yeah. He goes, "Go away, man," and then he proceeded to make a giant all-in on me when I had like the bottom of my amazingly strong range and I had to fold, and then he like caught me bluffing on both tables simultaneously, and then just like sat out and left and like, listen, Art Papa, I know you're not leaving because the money's a lot, but you had to come into the chat to thank you for your money, bro. I knew you were saving it up for something.
Interesting here. It's 5-10-20. It folded around to the button, and Jerry opened to 250. Oh, it's a double straddle. I see. Okay, that makes a little more sense. So 5-10-20. Oh, okay, a triple straddle. It makes a little more sense. Sorry. 5-10-20-40-80. That's why he opened at 250. I was wondering, how does he open at 250 at 5-10-20? But it was 5-10-20-40-80.
How does Dave call it 8-4 offsuit? It's
He's
a real question.
He's priced in.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's getting some odds.
Yeah, 170 to 575.
Yeah, he'd put a lot of money in pre. So interesting spot for Jerry. I think he should be betting the flop a lot. And so now Dave has a pair, so he should be check calling. If Jerry decides to bet, which if I did check the flop, I wouldn't want to be betting the turn with this hand. So I like that, and I think it should go check in this situation. I would be kind of confused if anyone bet. So.
Nice hand by Dave.
This is a good instance where you should look at the board on an ace-high flop and understand that you're going to have a lot of better hands than your opponent, and you don't want to give them free draw with your random better hands than their garbage hands. And also you want to get value from those aces that you have, from those random trips that you have. You know, hands like ace king and ace queen want to go for 3 a lot of the time. Hands like trips want to go for 4 streets if they could. So you just want to consider all those hands that don't really want to give up free equity to opponents that aren't very strong, but maybe don't have a good hand just yet. And that would be like a hand like king queen. It's easier to bluff with the lower hands, but that's one of those hands where people think you should always be checking because it has good showdown value. But in certain types of situations, specifically against the big blind, who's defending a lot, it might make sense to be betting a little bit more often than normal. We got a raise from Noah. I don't know what the blinds are, the straddles are at this point, but he's making it 150, and we're just going to roll with that.
It's 5, 10, 20, 40 this
Okay.
hand.
Okay.
So we just have a bunch of blind raises because you can only straddle under the gun in this game, the minimum. So it's a blind raise, 5, 10, 20, 40. Obviously, Dave's going to defend the Jack 5 off. If he loses, it's a cooler.
I like the call from Abe here. Dave's Jack 5-0 is, you know, I'm in there. I want to play 2 cards. I've seen this now for a few hands. Great flop for Noah.
Yeah, the only time Dave should probably fold is if he gets 1 card.
He'll probably still call.
Actually,
Abe-
Jack 5 off probably looks better with 1 card.
Abe flops middle pair with a backdoor nut flush draw, which means he can make some good 2 pairs as well.
Yeah, Noah and Abe are going nowhere here. These guys are going to get to the river.
So Noah makes a good bet here. I like the bet. I like the sizing. And Abe is going to call. I didn't know what he was doing when he had like 17 handfuls of chips when he put him in. So he calls. It was a call. And we got the fold out of Dave. So interesting situation here if a club happens to turn.
Yeah, all the money's going in if a club comes.
That's right, the SPR is shallow. Sometimes I forget to look at the stack depth. So now that a brick rolls off, if you're Noah and Abe checks, are you jamming? Ryan, are you jamming?
If you're Noah,
Yeah.
I would say no because you have less than pot left, and you know Abe just might not fold.
Yeah, I was asking you because I don't know what to do, man. I don't know.
It's one of those weird spots. I don't know that Noah really knows Abe that well.
Because it's Abe specifically, I might consider not jamming some of my bluffs that are like pretty strong checkbacks
Yeah, this small
that
bet.
don't beat other draws. Like I might jam like 10-9 for value.
This small bet just doesn't get it done. 390.
Yeah, the 390 doesn't really make any sense.
I mean, he only has 755. Like, what do you expect him to fold?
Well, I mean,
here?
it's either all in or check. There's really, you know,
Yeah, the middling one is.
'cause
You know what the middling bet does? I'll tell you what it does.
create terrible river situations.
No.
You have a joke here, don't you?
No, it's not a joke. I'm serious. This is like a live poker thing. You know what betting less than all in, where it's effectively an all in anyway, does? It makes it so that Abe has to show his hand first, so Noah doesn't have to show when he loses.
You need the half, or you just the game?
Even though it's a live stream, but on the table, in general, like that is a thing. Where
Yeah, but
people will,
Abe will just call here sometimes, and then what are you going to do with the
right,
9
but
high?
he doesn't expect him to call here. So I'm saying that
Have $300 at 6.5.
that could be a reason for not betting all in.
So, I just go by the book too much, so I'm going to have to find some bluffs, and then like,
What a
do that, you
shove.
know what? I gotta rip.
What a shove by Uncle Abe. What a beast. And now Noah doesn't even snap.
I think that shoving is good. If you're going to call, your opponent effectively can't bluff the river. So if you're going to go with your hand, go with your hand.
Look at Abe. What a beast.
Sure, he has like the nuts.
Well, that's almost like old school thought. Even though in this particular case it's real because the bet is so small into the pot, and Noah gets there. He's gonna take it from Uncle Abe, who by the way runs really bad from what I've seen. He's got a lot of heart to keep playing because he is just super unlucky. I haven't seen him win any big pots. I've seen him get coolered. I've seen him just brick everything.
Well, he had a lot of outs.
It's unbelievable.
Probably 9, 10.
Yeah, last time he was here, last time Johnny Vibes was here, he played with Abe, and the last hand of the stream, a 10 of spades rolled off in the river. Actually, that was the one hand where Abe did cooler somebody. He rivered a nut flush against Johnny's top set. But yeah, I definitely have seen him get cooler. He runs pretty bad. He plays well. Uncle Abe's gonna buy back in. Noah gets there. Gary's gonna go take a pee break. The winner of the Heads Up Classic last night, if you missed it, was David Liu. One of the probably least bet on players to win it, least likely players to win it. David Liu won it. People did not expect him. He was not one of the guys people were talking about. Got through Francisco, Captain Key, Dan Zach, and Brian Kim. A tough field indeed. And David Liu takes down the first ever Heads Up Classic. Dan Duran said, "Who is William Hung?" The chat, Twitch chat, can you help him out? William Hung is a legend in life.
Crazy, 45.
Getting back is going to take like 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Three players.
Stuck still.
Check.
Gutter for Jerry.
Play 7 deuce.
It's him with the best hand with Queen High.
Not allowed?
We got a lot of tough side bets. 65.
The casino needs to get a piece of the action.
Call.
You want to rake our 7 deuce?
It's the only way they'll allow it. Pay a commission.
Oh, more rake, better game.
6 on the turn gives Jerry the best hand.
That's not
Open ender for Abe.
He said no
He
politics.
said no politics. Let's try to
120.
play 7 deuce. We'll have a shot.
I hate the 7-2 game. Only because I always lose with 7 deuce.
Yeah.
And then
Jerry
I
has the best
call
hand,
like
9 on the river.
thinking people have 7
Well, that's
Abe's gonna go all in
I
with
know,
Queen
but I'm
High.
always- I'm never the winner. The point of that game
Pot
is to make
size
money.
jam. Can Jerry sniff it out and call with a
Great
6?
action, but make money at the same time. I'm never making money.
You
In
have to
theory,
adjust.
in theory, it's break even for you.
It's supposed to be,
Yeah.
in theory. Minus the $5 rate.
Pass, pass. Yeah.
Definitely not for me. It's absolutely a bluff.
This one I'm not even sure.
Oh, you have to
But
give
we'll,
it back.
but we'll see it in 15 minutes. We'll see it.
And Abe gets the bluff shoved through. Uncle Abe in the building.
Straddle.
What? I know. Maybe that's just about as bad as you think.
Thank you, Abe.
Dennis with pocket queens again. He's been getting some big hands. He made 2 straights. Second time with queens. And Noah with 7 deuce suited. No action
Sammy,
for
you
Dennis
grew
the
a
Menace.
Wow.
Good luck. Thank you, Dennis.
You guys want to play a bomb pot? Near future?
Whenever you guys want. I'm down for anything, always.
What is that bomb pot?
Uh,
Pot, you put
50 bucks.
you put X amount of money in pre-flop. You have to. Everybody does it, and then everyone has to check the flop, and then you play.
No, not check the flop.
check the pre-flop.
We see the
You
flop.
play
We
regular
play
after.
from the flop.
Do we have a bomb box?
Everybody
No.
puts in $50,
Oh.
and then we play from the flop.
You can subscribe now to liveatthebike.com
So it's
for
like a
$19.99 a month.
Starting,
And you get a free week if you use the promo code POKER. Sign up now at liveatthebike.com for unlimited access to all of our great poker content.
Nah, it's alright.
Who said no?
I did.
You can sit out that hand.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm,
The 8 of
I'm
us
on
can
to
still do it.
William.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm on Team William for this one.
Yeah, yeah.
William's out, I'm definitely out.
Yeah, William's out.
I'm Team Abe, always.
Every
What's
house is
this?
on pot for Abe anyway, so.
Did I throw that in there? What is this? A straddle? Being stupid, aren't I?
Oh, straddle? Can I straddle? You guys? Can I straddle?
Yeah.
So
What's
the
the
deal in here, people chop.
If yes, then
We know he has
if
those.
yes, then you can straddle.
I only looked at one card.
You can straddle more than 20.
I actually don't remember ever like pulling into the blind. I swear to God.
I've never seen
It never happens. I really don't remember it happening.
What?
I don't remember ever asking anyone chop or play. Like it never happened.
Yeah, Raptor doesn't get it.
You think so? Vikings are drawing dead?
Who got the ball? I think it's the ball half, isn't it?
For the half? Yeah.
I don't know who had it.
Vikings got it first.
Ramsden.
So they marched down and scored right away, remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Quick.
7-0.
It wasn't quick, but it was like solid drive over there. Good luck on the flop.
Two pair for Noah on the turn.
Yeah.
I think. Might have the board wrong. Ace, Jack, Deuce, 4-9. That's the board. Okay. So not two pairs. We have a straight for Dave. Abe with a pair of deuces. Dave bets 100 on the river. Abe is going to hero him with 7 deuce.
Those are definitely Abe's cards.
Quick shout out to David Dino, good friend of mine from Borgata. Very nice guy. And he had informed me that he had called into, I don't know if it was the off the felt or
Around the felt. Yeah.
around the felt. And so apparently Bart was feeling a little bit guilty about some of the things he might have said about me. Ryan, what was he saying about me? I haven't heard. Now Dino didn't want to ask him what he was saying, but I think it had something to do with me talking really loudly into the mic. I had a few drinks the night before.
On Friday?
It was a Thursday. It was a Thursday night that I drank a lot, and yeah, it was Friday game, and so I was in the 2 seat, Dan Zach on my right, and I was needling him about random life stuff just for fun, because he opened the door, I walked through it, and I heard from Dino that apparently Bart was like feeling a little bit guilty. I don't know if you commentated with him on Friday night.
Oh, so
Yeah, I don't think that's good.
Bart was saying that on Friday, but when was he guilty? He wasn't on our Monday show.
Oh, it might have been one of his podcasts that,
maybe.
that Dino had
Maybe,
talked to
maybe.
him on. And he was like, "Oh, tell Gary I didn't mean anything by it." And I'm like, "What's he talking about, man? What did he do?"
I don't know. Honestly, don't know. I think I didn't.
That makes sense.
I'm looking into
attention
your
to Friday.
eyes, and I kind of believe you, but the eyebrows a little bit raised on one side. So
I-
it's kind of a tell.
I honestly don't
and
know.
You know my live reads. My live reads are really good. Where's what's his face in here? to
No,
tell me that
Bart did mention something to me that he felt bad about needling you about something, but I honestly don't know what he said. I wasn't paying attention.
I feel like he was probably like, Gary, if you do a little bit less talking and a little bit more calling with kings, you'd be doing better.
Maybe he said you were like talking more than hands you played. I don't know.
Yeah, that's like part of this strategy, man. Speaking of kings, we're not folding kings now, are we?
Top set is a fun hand. Antoine has that. Look at that. Greater than 99%. 0% and less than 1%. Abe is drawing to running quads.
But Abe's going to see where he's at here with middle pair.
Wow. You rarely see that. 3 ways greater than 99%. That is incredible.
That's what top set will do for you with a diamond in your hand as well. Really good turn for Antoine. So this is a kind of situation where there's so many more draws on this turn that we could have, when we're betting this flop. So
And Abe recognizes that, so he's going to call.
it's a potential like really big bet situation. I would say like 80% to like 1.5x pot would be appropriate in this situation.
And this river card, a lot of things get there. The 7-9, the diamonds, the queen-9. A lot of things get there. The ace-queen. And now Abe has just an 8.
Right, so he shouldn't expect to get called here very often when he bets. He makes a 43% pot bet, roughly, and it's tough for Abe now with 3 diamonds on the board and not having a queen in his hand or an ace in his hand. Really sucks, knowing that Antoine's bluffs a lot of them would have given up on this run out. Like a hand like queen 10 would just show down. So he's just going to lose to so many hands, and the amount of bluffs that his opponent can have are minimal. So good fold from Abe.
I was just wondering if it actually was 43%, that would be really scary.
I was kind of like roughing it.
And then I did it in my head, and it's like 44, 45%. So, I was a little worried. Just making sure that you weren't right.
I mean, well, in your head has to be right. In my head it has to be wrong. So
Well, I took 12 seconds instead of 1 second. But I was just wondering, like, man, if he was right there, then I'd be scared.
Pretty sick.
One more equivalent. I wonder what the live line is. It's gotta be huge.
I ballparked it, man. It's probably like 44.2 or something.
I think it's
They're gonna come down and score.
44.8.
Really? Interesting. I'll have to look back.
Somebody
at that
can
later.
verify. 500 divided by 1105. What do you got? Wug.
That is fat or
Yeah, it's actually higher than I thought.
This is a fun conversation though. This is the kind of conversations that we have on Live at the Bike.
It's not at all.
Like
And
math.
we're in a hand here. So we got a raise from Dennis, early position to 40 with deuces. And Abe and Dave both flat, holding modest hands. Johnny in the small blind makes the 3-bet. Interesting situation with King Queen suited. You got to raise, but and a lot of calls, but everyone's ranges are so weak here.
He's asking if he calls.
Just because everyone plays very loose. So a hand like King Queen suited can be played more aggressively in this type of situation versus a game where people are playing very good hands, playing very tight ranges. So I think it's okay. And Abe's all in because why not? He's got ace-10 and the best hand here. Dave is considering the gamble.
He can't raise. So if I call that, he can't go all in.
No.
That is a good question.
And that is correct. He can't because it has to be a full raise. Dave put in 40, and Johnny made it 300, and Abe went all in for 490. So there's a raise of 260 from 40 to 300, so it has to be 560. But Abe only has 490. Thus, Johnny can only complete
You want to
seven.
the 490.
so someone else can make top pair.
Bart in the chat said, I didn't mean to rip you that bad. It was just you were talking a lot.
Just pick 2 random cards. It's very
And
possible.
he also said, that was my bad, Gary. I meant to send you an email for the show tonight.
Bart, what are you saying about me, man?
Instead of sending emails to him, send a blue label.
Well played, Ryan.
Dave comes along with his favorite hand, the 8-6 off, and he flops the best hand.
He's going to have to fade some things here. This is one of the problems with playing the not great hands.
Johnny's going to come along with king high, though. He's got 2 overs, backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw, and that's not one of them.
Okay, so it looks like, you know, Dave's probably going to win here. What do you think the odds are Dave wins here?
Probably 101. Probably like.
Are you sure? I feel like if we revise that, it might be like 100.2.
That was actually perfect.
I have a 6.
You have a 6?
We can use a thermometer to figure that
You have
out.
a 6 there.
Yes, Dave wins.
6-8 offsuit. 4-5-1. So sick.
Okay. I'll give it back.
Yeah, I'll come with you.
Wait. What is No, that's right.
Keep an eye on him, please.
Pass me a white chip. Thanks, man. It's gonna be one of those weeks, guys. It's gonna be one of those weeks. I don't know if you tuned in last Thursday or Tuesday, whatever night it was. 6-8 offsuit. Pretty sick.
Suited, no? Oh,
No, offsuit.
red, diamond.
$500.
Hey, you know what you should get your wife? Or your dog?
So sick.
A subscription to Live at the Bike. It's only $19.99 a month, and guess what? If you put in the coupon code POKER, 1 free week to try it out at liveatthebike.com, and then if you don't like it, get your money back.
Yeah. You too?
I think Radley's going to buy it for me on my birthday.
Christmas is coming up around the corner. Halloween's coming up.
Who else is Eagles?
Thanksgiving. It's a great Thanksgiving gift.
I mean, I moved here. a
I
while
think it's
ago.
good value. Honestly, I'm just lazy.
Yeah, I used to play at Parks, Sugar House.
I still don't have internet.
Amish?
What is that? 14
No, I'm just
gigs.
using my neighbor's internet.
We got trips here for Tim. You would do that. Trips here for Tim.
I'd
The
do
Jack
it.
5, a.k.a. the Destin.
So when Tim makes big hands, it's kind of terrifying
Yes, that should be
for everybody.
That should absolutely.
And that's part of the reason why they just fold to him always. They're like, well, he could be bluffing, but if he does have a really big hand, we'll pay him way too much here, so we better fold now.
That happened to me last week. Well, you, of course, but that was a cooler. But I had a hand where I called him down with middle pair, and then he rivered top pair on a paired board.
What's that?
And he bet pot on the river,
I used to work
and I
in
called.
Brooklyn,
And it's like, wow, most people wouldn't go for full pot with a weak top pair. But he did it because he knows his image.
I'm pretty sure he
good.
overbet the pot. Like, at some point, I think he overbet the turn
four?
when I had top 2 and he had bottom set.
I thought you guys got it in the
really
flop,
nasty.
no?
No, I think I c-bet the flop with
He
top
check
2 and
raised,
check raised,
and then
I
he just
called.
jammed.
And no, he overbet the turn and I called.
If I doubled you up in the
And then he jammed river, and I was like, call? You have a set? And he's like, yeah.
I mean, when somebody's action and they bluff a lot, they deserve to get max value when they have it.
Sure.
That's just how it works.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
Somebody folded 6s, I think. Tim limps with 3s. Antoine raises with 9s. Dennis obviously calls with 8 deuce suited with the big blind, and Tim calls as well.
He's not gonna
Set over set every time.
That guy stinks.
That's a set for Antoine.
There's still time.
Deuce.
So Tim checks through, and that's like not a very good card for Antoine in many ways. No one has anything but a flush draw from Dennis. I did not see, so not so bad. Not so bad.
This is an interesting line from Antoine. He checks back that flop 3 ways and then just calls the turn. And wow, look at the river. Wow,
gross. And you can't even blame him for raising.
And a big overbet from Dennis, 500 into 355.
You could blame him for raising then. Just a call.
Wow, that's a cooler. And honestly, like, Antoine played it well. Like, yeah, you could bet flop, you could raise turn, but he got Antoine to bet with a flush draw, or sorry, Dennis to bet with a flush draw. And Dennis probably bluffs river a decent percentage of the time when he bricks. And so you could say Antoine played it well, and he just got a little unlucky trying to trap and make more money.
Trying to not get runnered. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to not get runnered sometimes. These days, 2018, runners are happening all over the place.
It's true.
I need to make like 20K today, so I could dunk it
Sucks.
off
And I do think betting is probably the better line with that hand.
By the way, Gary will be playing in tomorrow's game, of course. But tomorrow, our High Stakes Friday will be 25-50 this week, not 5100. We're still going to have the action clock. We're going to play 25-50 with a different crew. No Garrett, no Nick. But we will have Dennis the Menace in there. We will have Uncle Abe. We will have Chris, Ludacris. We will have Big John, not to be confused with Little John. And who else? Destin, a.k.a. the People's Champ. So we are going to have a fun game for you tomorrow. I'm missing a couple people as well.
Is there an ante? Is it
no, just 25-50.
Okay.
So you have to be on your best behavior.
I mean, when would I be in bad behavior if it's not Dan Zach sitting next to me?
So that's tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific, 25-50 with a lot of characters.
We got a hand here, guys. We had an open from Noah, a 3-bet from Jerry with ace-jack suited. Noah having ace-king. Dennis also with ace-king puts in the cold 4-bet. Everything seems reasonable. I would like to see a flat from Jerry with ace-jack suited against the early position open. Again, this is a game where everyone's very wide open. 3-betting makes some sense for value. And Dennis in the small blind with ace-king, it's hard not to cold 4-bet here. So
I think Noah has to just get rid of his hand here if he doesn't shove. I think that when you are facing a 3-bet and a 4-bet, ace-king off is not
how deep was Noah in this situation?
Over 3K.
You really want to see it?
So I disagree. I think that he can call with ace-king. I think that calling is very underrated with that hand. I feel like when in my earlier years of poker, I'd been more inclined to either get ace-king in pre-flop or when it was like at that level of are we getting it in or not, I would generally just stack off to get a 5-card run out. But depending on the situation, there's a good reason to put in the call there. And maybe it makes sense to fold ace-king offsuit there, maybe peel ace-king suited. and also include some of your other value hands, like maybe trap some aces. But
So you're okay with having hands that you open and then face a 3-bet and 4-bet with and cold call?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, how could you not be? There's all kinds of strategies for everything. Like, if you want to be able to call with queens there comfortably, then why wouldn't you mix in some aces and some ace kings? Just a little bit at a time. If you don't want to have those hands, it sucks if you're going to only have queens and you're going to have no aces, kings, and ace king, and then you're going to just put in that call. Are you going to fold queens there? You're just going to be like, all right, you know what? I'm in a game of loose players, and I'm going to just go ahead and just flat the queens. It's too good to rip in and have them fold their bluffs. So I have to call. Like, you might as well mix in some variety of different types of hands you can have. Maybe throw jacks in at some percentage, just so you have a little more board coverage.
Johnny opens king 10 of hearts, and Antoine just flats the ace king in the hijack. Unorthodox. Most people are 3-betting in this spot. And William makes the call. Abe comes along. We're 5 ways.
They just scored 7 and special.
My game, they tied it up. They went to like the 14th inning, and then they fucking lost.
And look at this. 2-pair for Abe. Who flops 2-pair better than Uncle Abe?
What happened with these?
And Tim is going to float with a gutter, and a huge bet by Abe on the turn gets it through.
You the same hand as him?
What a sucker. You trying to make hero folds?
I can't call.
And we are now joined by a special
What'd
guest,
he do?
the cousin of Mountain Dew, Mr. Ramsey Dew.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen?
What's up?
Welcome to the booth, Ramsey.
Thank you, thank you. You too. I wanted to play in this game tonight, but I gotta be up by Six Flags Magic Mountain at like 9 o'clock, 8:45. So.
What's your name?
Ryan. So what do you guys got going on tomorrow? Still playing a Friday game?
Yeah, so remember I told you we were going to do a 25-50 tomorrow.
Yeah, you invited me.
So we're going to do a 25-50. The lineup is going to be kind of fun. Gary's playing.
All right.
Gala's playing. And then we have Destin. We have Uncle Abe. We have Ludacris. We have Big John. We have, who else did I forget?
I folded ace king.
Dennis the Menace.
Oh.
So we're about to learn why Dave likes to play the crappy hands, because he's got a good one now, and almost certainly he runs bad with those good hands, and that's what induces a lot of recreational players to mix in all of the trashy hands, because it's only 2 cards.
I understand it.
Oh, the 2 people I forgot tomorrow, Francisco and Eric Hicks.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a packed lineup. Money's going to go flying.
And we're using the action clock.
Oh, are you?
So we have Dave here limp raising. We saw him limp raise the 8-9 off earlier.
Yeah, the 8-9 off.
He
it's
balances it.
Nice to balance that with the ace
Look
king
at
off.
Tim, true to
it's a
form,
better hand.
just raising his hand when it gets to him.
So a couple of hands into the stream, Tim made a sick bluff shove.
I did see that. Yeah.
And then he made a couple nut hands.
He likes those suited clubs, doesn't he?
Yeah, clubs are his favorite suit, he said.
Yeah.
They're easier to make flushes with.
And Dave checks dark. Is that what he said?
No, Dave's...
I heard
position.
Well, he still said check dark for some reason.
Maybe Tim did.
Okay.
Dave
Okay,
checks
so
back. Wow.
Maybe he did check dark. So Dave's got the top 2. Really bad board for Tim. He didn't turn the club, so it sucks with an ace and a king on the board. Pretty easy fold here.
Rich, can you call service phone?
He's facing a limp re-raise range, so a lot of those hands that could be bluffing, like 8-9 off, have a pair.
It's true.
I thought you just saying the headset.
So when the bottom is still
and look at
containing
this,
some
more
equity.
cocktails
Oh my
for the boot.
God.
What is this?
Is that apple juice? Ramsey, you want to help us?
I really wish I could. I got to go drive like in 10
We should be
10
getting the
minutes, man.
players drunk. They shouldn't be getting the commentators drunk.
Oh, I wish I could drink those. And courtesy of Tim in seat 6, just sending blue labels to the booth. Oh my God.
I'll drink some of all the What can I mix Blue Label with?
I am not even kidding, guys. There are like 5, 6 drinks in front of us, all full.
Someone in the
No, you can mix it with your mouth.
Someone in the chat.
No, I'm serious. Wait, she just walked out.
Do you have any idea what blue-
Shoot, I need something to mix it with.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Feldman doesn't know what Blue Label is.
Yeah, I could drink
He
one,
wants-
but
he
not
wants
3.
To mix it. He's like, what can I mix it with? And the answer is nothing.
I think
You
Gary should just drink
it.
them all.
It's going to be amazing.
All right, Gary, go ahead.
Type
Then
1
we'll
in chat
then
if you
we're-
think Gary should just drink them all.
We have
Then we're
4
gonna have
here.
another Thursday night. I can't have any.
Hold on.
Thursday nights.
Tim has a real hand here, guys. So Abe limps the button with 5-3 suited. Tim with pocket aces, which just isn't fair when he gets pocket aces. He raises it up to 105. Dave obviously defends the big blind. And
We get massage.
we're going to go 4 ways to this flop.
Let's get our gamble on.
We need a ace 3-3 flop.
Abe has the
Or,
sexiest hand of them all.
ace
You
deuce
crack 'em.
Ace
Four.
deuce 4.
Ace
Yeah,
deuce
with
4.
ace deuce 4 or ace king king ace 9-9
Too much wine.
ace 4-5. There's so many.
I don't
of
think
them.
it's
7-8-10.
gonna- Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a boring
Seven-
flop. I don't know what it
7-8-10.
is.
7-8-10's a favorite.
7-8-10 would be really nasty.
I think someone's going to at least have a straight draw here. And
Damn
I'm
it, I
completely wrong.
I folded a 7.
Ryan folded a 7 in the booth.
Good flop for Tim's aces and his image. Noah with a backdoor club draw to the butts. Dave with a king high.
So the butts is the opposite of the nuts?
Yes. It's not the stone butts.
Hey, everyone typed a 1 for you drinking them all. Look at that.
Who dat?
I said
Oh,
type.
no, it's just this Nick Arc.
No,
guy.
there's other guys too. Look at.
All right,
look
I'll
at
tell
the
you what,
Twitch
Gary,
chat.
I'll make a deal, okay? I'll make a deal since you're such a nit. I'll make a deal, okay? If
Now I'm a nit.
if you don't drink,
How
okay,
can I mix this
okay,
Blue Label
you
with?
it's fine.
You're a nit.
Honestly, don't worry about it. It's fine. You can drink them all. But if you're passed out by the end of the show, I'll drink them with something.
If I'm passed out by the end of the show,
Yeah, it's fine.
no, I'll have problems, man. I'll have life problems.
What time's not the actual stream, but what time are you guys starting tomorrow?
What do you mean?
Uh,
Signed the biggest deal.
Yeah, I
3.
said only the quarter.
3 o'clock.
So the guy,
Are you saying
the
no?
tackle to the tackle.
You're saying
Everybody's just like spouting numbers now, guys. That doesn't do anything.
I should probably take
Doesn't do anything for anyone.
Yeah, it does. It means you should drink them all.
It means I should drink 23,465 of these.
That's one guy.
I don't even have it.
That's one guy.
No, look,
All right, this guy's reasonable. Eric Ramkison.
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 Sure.
Ramkison.
This is one. I can drink one.
You gotta start somewhere.
Look at Crush Life Poker says mixing Blue Label. Yeah, dude, I know. Is that Bart? That's
Sorry,
Bart, right?
guys, I'm not
Yeah.
a
Where's
50-year-old man that
Bart's Crush
sits
Life
on a
Poker
rocking chair
on the
and drinks
left. Crush Life
whiskey.
Poker.
Bart, what did you say about me, man? I'm hearing things from everybody these days. It's like, oh man, Bart, he was just way out of line and stuff.
He called you a nit.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I called myself a nit.
He like read your stats and you were like 15-5, and he's like, what a nit.
Live poker, man.
Yeah.
oh yeah, you have a one cage now?
That 1,000, yeah. The green one.
The one that's hidden, the one that you're purposely hiding? Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, Bart just called you a nit, I guess. I don't know, Bart, you're in chat. Why don't you
Bart, where are you hiding?
why don't
Bart?
you
Where
address
are
it?
you?
He'll
No,
be-
he already addressed it.
Where are you? He's like, you're talking too much again.
It's true.
You're not playing any hands, Gary.
You haven't. Yeah, like if a hand is the trick in the Blue Label, you haven't played
Oh
any.
my
yet.
God, don't be a bitch here. I'm sorry, pardon my French.
English only the table. All right, here.
Exactly.
Oh, I can't
Ryan,
drink that. I gotta
one-
go.
one- it's it's like gold. It's like liquid gold.
All right, I'll drink 1 if you drink 3.
I'll drink one. I'll probably drink 3. Let's
Okay.
go.
Man, all these drinks in front of me are so tempting.
Are you
Cheers
ready?
again. Oh,
Gary, drink them all. $5 donated from JD. Shout out to JD.
Thank you, JD. I probably will.
And Ryan just takes the whole Blue Label like it's a shot, and looks like he's struggling. Spills a little bit on the commentator's table.
It was a shot.
I know, but like a shooter shot. You know what I mean? Like a party shot. And
So, Will, do we get a performance?
oh, we got a hand going here, guys.
where are we?
Let's get back to the action.
Middle of your speeches, you
Jerry raises a couple 9s under the gun +1, gets a few callers.
This is disgusting.
In the middle of a hand.
And the cocktails are back in the booth again. Another beer.
Okay. If
Wow.
I double you up,
Just wow.
please. She bangs. Please.
Noah 3-betting ace queen suited.
All right.
And Jerry with the flat call. I don't see Abe going anywhere. I know how he likes to gamble. And he back jams deuces. Wow.
What a boss.
Abe with technically, I mean, if he gets Jerry out. Nah, I don't think Jerry's folding.
Okay, the last time Abe back jammed deuces on this show,
He hit a deuce?
he won a 3-way all-in for thousands of dollars.
Oh, Abe's good at 3-ways, right? Like, yeah.
For sure. I'm pretty sure Abe's going to win this hand.
Abe's the 3-way master.
I think a deuce is coming. I've seen Abe do this before.
No, I think an ace is coming and he's going to wheel him.
Set over set.
You want Abe to set over set someone?
I want the flop to be like ace 3 9 and then like a 4 and a 5 runner.
That's the most brutal way possible. Or he just hits 4 spades.
Actually, sorry, Jerry. I like you, Jerry.
What if it just comes ace queen 9 all spades and then just spade?
Oh wait, Dave hasn't folded his suited ace 3. Oh yes, he has. He folds.
All right, I think Noah and Jerry might both. One of them for sure is calling here. I think Jerry finds a fold if Noah jams.
Noah's
I
had
think
a
Jerry
tough day.
snaps if Noah folds.
Noah's had a tough day. I don't see him folding. He's probably frustrated, and this is like a really attractive hand.
You know
in a
Noah,
weird
right?
spot. Huh?
You know Noah?
No, I don't think so.
He plays in LA fairly often. He lives in New York mostly.
I
When
don't.
he comes to LA, he plays at the other casino.
You know, Noah, if we've played together, I'm sorry, I just don't remember.
Like watermelon juice. I love fresh watermelon.
I mean, he has folding behavior, but I don't know if he's gonna do it.
Just like squeezed. Like,
Nobody better fold here. No one's folding.
I think ace queen suited is too good of a hand in this spot against Abe, but I think that with Jerry
I mean, he
behind,
just looks like he's gonna let it go. Oh, and he puts the chip back on the cards.
I want to see a 3-way all in here. Let's go.
and he just throws chips in for the call.
Come on,
Jerry's
Jerry.
going to find a fold here.
Jerry, what if they both have ace king, Jerry?
Wow,
Jerry.
now Abe doesn't even need to hit a deuce. He just needs to not have an ace or a queen peel off. This is a great situation for Abe.
Ace in the window and a 3.
But Abe
Dave
just-
would have had the best hand.
Abe just doesn't run that well, though. It sucks. I would love to see Abe just pile up for like months.
Maybe not with.
Oh my God!
Deuce! Oh my
Oh,
God!
wow. And Noah just running like complete crap today.
Ace king.
So frustrating. Look at
I
Abe
told you guys a deuce was coming.
racking
Nobody,
up $2,800 in profit.
Everybody calm down. Everybody calm down, okay?
nobody drops deuces better than Uncle Abe.
I was wishing for Abe to run good one time, okay?
He drops deuces with the
Let
best
him
of
do it.
them.
Let him do it.
And Abe goes from like, you know, almost having a 3-way to just heads up and still making a lot of money on this hand.
Shout out to Ramsey in the booth. My man, good to see you, dude.
Chat going nuts for Uncle Abe.
And you know what? If I get off work early enough, I'm coming back here. I don't know if you guys are going to be here or not.
Who's that
but
handsome guy neck down there in the background?
Let's play a Name That Crotch.
Name that torso.
Yeah, who do you guys think that is?
Name that hoodie.
Name that voice.
Who's that guy talking to Dennis?
Some schmuck.
Yeah.
I have a 6-pack membership.
Look at him. What a D-bag.
Let's go. I have membership. I can bring a friend for free.
Turn him over.
I have no random insults for the random guy. I'm sorry. I can't judge.
Yeah. I just, something in my gut just tells me he's a bad guy. Can't even see his face.
Probably smells too.
Yep.
Oh, he's got the beard.
I
All
think
saw
Gary
was the
actually
beard.
doesn't know who it is.
I have no idea who it. Should I know?
Gary also doesn't know who William Hung is.
Why don't you guys ask the chat who it is?
Oh, it was Wayne?
It's Wayne.
Was it Wayne? Shout out to Wayne.
I don't know
saw
if you're being serious
I
right
saw
now or
you in the
not.
chat earlier, buddy. Good to see you.
Are you being serious?
I mean, yeah, I saw Wayne in the chat.
I know, but are you being serious that you don't know who that was?
Should I know who that is?
Yes.
Santa Clarita.
It was me.
Oh, yeah.
But nobody's gonna play the hand.
You're not wearing that. Oh.
Yeah, I just
Oh
took the
my
hoodie off for a
God.
second.
And the beard.
Yeah, yeah. I'm still wearing the beard, so.
Anyway, yeah, Gary came on the air, and he's like, who are these players? I don't know some of them. I said, well, William Hung's playing, and he's like, who's that?
Dad, and then the person that takes my
I did say who's
Dude,
that.
you don't know who the shebang?
Oh, you only had this.
Did not. Did not.
All right, guys. I gotta go. It was fun joining you guys for a few seconds. I gotta go to work.
Wait, hold on. Let's
All right,
bring our
let's do
energy
this
here.
last hand,
We
okay?
got a combo draw versus top pair here. Can Abe do it?
I think they're gonna check it down here.
Oh
I mean,
my
Abe's
god.
on fire. Abe's on fire.
5 on the river.
Oh
Okay.
my god, they checked it
Yeah,
down.
there it is.
They're like best friends.
Hey.
Yeah, that could have been like a $9,000 pot.
Hey, you could have gotten all the money there.
They agreed on it pre-flop.
Raise the flop, bet the turn, shove the river.
Listen, Abe makes the rules.
I know because I was there when they did it.
Hey-oh. Hey.
Abe has this super affection for Dave for some reason.
Yeah, he was really upset the other day when he like doubled up off of him, and I don't know.
Yeah, I could have lost $1 million there if we didn't agree to check it down.
Dave says he could have lost $1 million. Yep. He would have probably lost it all,
The hand would have played the same way.
and Dennis is completely wrong.
There's no way Abe's folding that flop.
Abe's on a heater.
No, absolutely not.
Somehow Abe just always runs it up.
Abe's kind of like me. Like
Yeah.
I'm in by a lot, and I just fucking effing run it up.
7th buy-in, you're
don't
just
have enough
up to
money,
10K.
Yeah. I want to play. I want to play next week. I've had a hectic schedule. So.
Yeah, well, you're
Yeah.
invited anytime you want.
All right. Cool.
We just gotta know that you're coming.
Okay. Yeah, I was pretty sure I was coming tonight, but I really do have to go, guys.
You can't just show up anytime you want to, man.
And on that note, I'm gonna show up myself out the door.
All right, Ramsey.
Good to see
thanks
you guys.
for
Yeah, it's good to
thanks
see
for
you.
stopping by.
Gary.
Come back?
Yeah, I should be done like by midnight, so I'll text you.
You're gonna be
If
working?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
If you're still up, I'll shoot you a text.
All right, see you later, Ramsey.
All right, guys.
Appreciate it. Tim with a real hand here, pocket tens, and Dave is going to 3-bet ace-10 suited. I don't blame him for 3-betting Tim, and Tim's just going to call,
Love those guys.
perhaps setting the trap.
Oh my gosh.
Check that. Boom.
Got him.
And Tim's still with the best hand.
He just knows. He knows when to fold it. It's so sick.
This will be interesting to see if Dave goes for it. He checked back the flop, so probably not.
Goes 350.
Tim's now going to bet the turn for value on this texture.
Two mid buys.
And what does Dave want to do?
Next to act, nah.
That's usually a smash.
He just knows. Here, I'll change it.
And he lets it go.
Deuces again?
He had threes. It's close enough.
Guys, chat, can you guys help me come up with a nickname for Tim? I want to make Tim a regular on this Thursday show, and we need a nickname for him. So you guys don't know too much about him yet. You know that he's aggressive. You know that he's action. We need a creative nickname, something that either makes sense or uses his name in it.
Threes, it's a
So chat, give me some suggestions for a good nickname for Tim. We
And
got-
while you guys do that, quick shout out to Tim for all the blue labels.
I thought you were only friends with our
Appreciate it, man. Very cool. He is a good dude. And
So the dealer's not.
That's
no
messed up.
no more blue labels, Tim. Stop sending blue labels because Rifle doesn't want to drink them, and I'm getting handcuffed with all of these amazing schooners of this glorious gold.
Yeah.
But I'm already on this plan of drinking way too many IPAs. So who knows what's gonna happen to me? I'm gonna end up like waking up in LA on the street somewhere, like 4 p.m. tomorrow. Missed the game. It's not gonna be good. So thank you. Maybe stop now.
The under is not looking.
Got a lot of nicknames coming in here. Should I just read them all? I guess I might as well, right? All right, we're going to start off with,
If you looked and
well,
put
I
the
said Tim
$10
Dwan. I already said that one. Timbo
that
Rice.
would be worse.
It's weirdly racist.
Be a worse hand than actually.
Douche? No, what? That's weird.
Absolutely.
Tim Tam. Slim Jim Tim. Timmy Two Shoes. That's too long. Tim the Poker Warrior. That's, no. Rabbit. Asian Dwan. Thursday Tim. Tim the Terror. No, that's a weird nickname right there. Slim Tim. Action Tim. All right, we got some names here. Armenian Tim. That one doesn't make sense.
Do Tim and Tan know each other personally at all?
Tim and who?
Tim and Tan.
I don't think so. Why?
I feel like they get along really well. Not because they're Asian guys, because they both have that same kind of like laid-back demeanor. Very, very chill guys.
I think Tim's more gangster.
Lucy's are good.
Gangster? That's like, come on. That's like his mother giving you like one quick whip across the face. Like, stop it.
Tan's just such a nice little boy.
Better watch the way you say that.
I feel like Tim's more mean. I feel like Tim's got like that mean streak in him.
He's so mean that he sends blue label after blue label.
No, I mean at the table. At the table.
I'm gonna just like not even drink before I get to the booth. And just have blue label show up.
Tenacious Tim we got. Justin Timberlake. No, that doesn't work. A lot of people like the Timbo Rice. It's weird. Timmy T. Tiny Tim. Tim Blue Label. Timfinity.
Timmy Triad Tim. Timmy Cash.
I was thinking maybe like Timid Tim.
Non-American Tim.
Timid. What do you think about Timid?
Timmy. Shout out to Kurt Sheldon for Timmy. I'm sorry. No, it was.
T-Pain.
Oh my God! It was the other guy. I gave credit to the wrong guy. I feel bad now. I'm sorry.
Usually they have good arms.
Tim Tat. That's weird, man. Intimidator. That's cool. I probably would have said that too. Tammy Tim. Don't know where that came from. Too Tight Tim. It makes sense, but not really. But yeah, it does. Tim the Heat. Tattoo Tim. Timbits. Little Tim. Little Tim. I'll give a little shout out to Brian S. No, I gave the wrong shout out again. Lexus. You guys got to understand that I only have one screen, and you guys have 1,000 things to say. So, the best I can. Tebow. No.
Yeah, I haven't really seen any great ones.
Timsy.
All right, we have a 3-bet here from Antoine
Timber
with Jack 10
from
and
your boy Eric Ramkeesoon.
Hold on, we have a 3-bet here from Antoine with Jack 10 and a cold call from Dennis in the spellblind with Ace King. This is a spot where you're normally going to 4-bet, but he puts in the cold call, and we are going to go to the flop. Antoine and Dennis with Antoine in position.
That is definitely a spot to make the cold 4. Mixing the Ace King in is not necessary in this situation because you're not going to be calling all that much.
Yeah, they won't say anything. Yeah, because they will.
And you could just trap aces.
Antoine outflops him with middle pair and a gutter, and he's going to check it back, I believe.
He should, obviously.
No, maybe he didn't check yet.
Okay, he obviously shouldn't because he didn't.
But Dennis is going to come along.
I mean, that's a hope and a prayer for Antoine to be like, well, I think he is Ace King, and I'll make him pay.
7 on the turn, so I would think now that Antoine would mostly check back.
Just bet now. Just bet.
To do the opposite of what we think.
At this point, just bet. Just do it. Just make the bet. Make the 350 bet. If you're going to play the strategy, make that bet.
450.
It's like you're setting up this hand to be played a certain way. What hands are you going to bet this flop with and check back and then bluff the river with so often? So maybe mix in a little bit of weirdness with this Jack 10. I think checking the flop is better. And he denied equity. He got the equity denial accomplished, which is why betting the turn makes sense. It can scare Ace King a little bit. Maybe just take it down. Brian, I love it when you fondle my foot with your foot, but maybe not this time. Thank you.
It wasn't my foot.
It was his foot.
He's never going to play on the flop.
10.
I just want to throw some love to my boy Aaron Mermel. He had a really rough day today. He missed 2 flights on his way to Costa Rica.
How is that possible?
And yeah, he.
Did you really?
Guess you don't know him that well. He missed 2 flights to Costa Rica today, and I feel terrible about it. And he's headed to Israel afterwards.
I thought you might have raised.
I want to ask how and have you explain it, but I just don't think it's worth it.
He got caught in traffic the second time. I don't know what the first time
Wait,
is.
why did he leave the airport after the first time?
I feel like he may not have left for the airport the first time. He might have just missed his flight, woken up, rescheduled it, and then get caught in traffic.
He seems like a responsible adult.
I was showing love, Taryn Merville and Ryan Feldman, taking it to the streets here.
10.
When will these kids learn?
Ah, Mashugana.
Well, we had the same hand.
I have 2 unders.
All right, we got a cooler flop here.
Halfway there.
Abe with 5s, Dave with a 4.
I have nothing red. I mean, I have nothing. No hearts. Nice hand.
Abe with the value bet.
Quickly played hand. Reasonably played on both counts.
If you like to wear shirts, you should go to liveofthebike.com and click on store and buy a Live of the Bike t-shirt. Brand new, blue and black, $22, but you can get 25% off your first order with the coupon code BIKE.
They have a 3-bet logo on the sleeve. It's made by Soft Cotton, or made with Soft Cotton. And I would have told you the rest, but whoop, it's gone.
T-shirts.
If Rifle would have
Wear
taken a
them.
little less time to read his part.
If you're not into wearing shirts, don't buy them. But if you like wearing clothes, go to our store at liveofthebike.com and buy a shirt.
They are good-looking shirts. I've seen a lot of the employees wearing them. They're looking sharp, looking soft, like 100% cotton.
William Hung and Johnny Vibes in the game here, 2 superstars, and they are quiet.
Johnny with ace queen of hearts. I would love to see this hand take a flop. I feel like we've only seen this hand dealt to one person who folded it, and if he folds this, I mean, it better be extenuating circumstances. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to take a break. Gonna have to walk it out. There's only so much nittiness I can see on stream when it's not me playing.
Shout out to Barca for the $2 donation. Just throwing some Tim nicknames in there. Tim's got queen 10, and he's
Thank you. Appreciate it.
gonna fold it. Wow.
Everyone's still calling out Tim names over there in the YouTube chat.
Making him come off.
Ah,
To come off.
D-double-O, M-Guard, D8 says Tim job. That's actually creative, man. Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Just doesn't want to come 3rd and 10.
All right, we'll go over the winnings here. The biggest winners so far, Dennis and Tim, both at about $2,500 profit. Dennis and Tim, the big winners, followed by Uncle Abe, up $1,400. Noah stuck $1,400, and Jerry stuck $1,400. Johnny Marino stuck about $900, and Noah's gonna limp with the 7s. Johnny limps behind.
Everybody's playing a little bit shy today. No one's really getting it in. Let's see some gambling. Let's go.
Tim's gonna raise it up. He's got suited cards.
He loves that Jack 7. He loves any suit. He doesn't care if it's clubs or not.
We're probably gonna go 4 ways here. Abe's got the button. 2 cards.
Oh, Abe, sweet Abe.
No, he lets it go.
Oh, Abe!
Disciplined.
My hero. I love the tie, too. Love it. Abe's looking good today. And we got a jack on that flop.
That's the way he plays.
Not much else for anyone. Tim's going to bet. Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't.
That's good. He keeps you on your toes.
In this case, he'll just win. And that's where you're rewarded for denying equity.
Surprise for him too.
Not much value to be had with second pair, 9th kicker, 8th kicker, whatever it was. I'm being like a little bit too hard. It was probably like 6th kicker. But nevertheless, those are the kinds of hands you want to like maybe set a trap against your opponents with when they think that when you check you have nothing, and then you show up with middle pair, 6th kicker. It's kind of strong. And like by the river, I mean, hey, that's all you got, right? That's all you got left. That or like, you know, quads.
Nick Palmer with a donation on YouTube. What's up, Nick? Jerry with the ace-7 suited calls. There's a straddle.
William folded 10-7 suited.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Abe's going to call Jack 10-0 on the cutoff.
Tim's definitely raising here if I know Tim.
I mean,
Timbuktu.
he should not be raising. He should be raising and re-raising and then re-raising. If he gets the opportunity, but if he doesn't, it's fine. Just one raise is cool. And post-flop is different. It's a different animal. It sucks when you're Johnny and you have 2 7s, and Jerry's hiding one of those with a suited ace. But hey, he doesn't know it.
When you get 20 back.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I feel like
A little bit bigger pot.
Abe's getting in there.
really rooting for you.
I don't see a raise coming. I think he's just kind of preparing himself for the flop.
I think he could click it back here.
Pretty good, yeah. Sweet, right?
I mean,
Might be a
sure
good
he
play.
could. He could min raise and cause an uproar, an ambush, if you will.
But, I mean, if you know you're going to flop trips, you might as well, right? Trips for Abe. He's got the best of it.
Oh, indeed. Everyone checks through, which I think is completely reasonable. I actually,
No, it's good though. You get
I don't mind the way everyone's
final
playing this hand so
let
far.
you back.
250.
So, Abe has a wider range of Jack X than I do in this situation. This might be my worst Jack, where maybe I'll not bet it, but
$2?
Abe has way worse Jacks that he could check, so betting makes sense. I like it. And so I think Johnny might be like trying to figure out a bluff type of scenario.
$15.
So if Abe bets,
Did Abe just check
does
back?
not bet.
Abe checks back. Wow.
Abe did not want him to take the chance there. He's putting the chips in his stack. He's moving on to the next hand. All right, Abe. I like it. You're chipping up. I like it. Don't do it against me, but I like it. I swear, every time I play with him, he's been so unlucky. Every single hand, man. Every single hand.
Pick up a pocket pair
I'm
there.
talking to you, Ryan. Ryan's reading the chat. He's
comment.
looking for somebody. He's looking for somebody.
You're so outgoing in front of the camera. There's 4 cameras on you, man.
Well, gotta be careful at poker.
How you win the
tables,
game?
know. Like I am in the game, but you gotta be careful.
That's true. We are playing for money.
Yeah.
I forgot. Sometimes I think it's playing money.
Guys in the chat, I'm going to ask you to focus and stop spouting the nonsense. Maybe say something that we can use here on the show.
No, it's
So
safe
everyone
for
calm down.
last time. The Asian menu. Game changer. Asian menu.
Redneck George, a very reasonable question. Do we have a camera in the booth? We do. We just don't use it very often. You don't want to see our ugly faces, okay?
Tim with the Jack 7 suited again. This is his hand.
That commentator is a douche. Ryan, this guy hates you. Project Hat 3
Put it in.
I love your music, though, Project Pat.
Everything
hates
else
you.
full.
Want to be a baller? Remember that song?
Gary, who's going to win the Super Bowl this year? Andy, obviously.
Nothing. I'm good. I'm good. Nothing.
King 9-4, great flop for William, and he's going to cooler Johnny Moreno a little bit here, who flats the big blind 5 ways with King Queen. William hung.
But I will smoke the Super Bowl.
William hung with top here.
I love it. There's action. It's multi-way. No one has anything except for the Ace King and the King Queen. Johnny is in a bad spot here.
Johnny vibes,
What will he do?
prepared to get hung.
That was cute. That was really cute the way you did that.
I'm the only guy.
Not the greatest turn for
She bangs.
Ace King. Better turn for Johnny, although he still is way behind by percentages. And William does check back. He's kind of playing a little bit reasonably.
Well, don't date her then.
Diamond on the river, not the greatest for William, but it's
Oh, no.
his hand is
Stop him,
too
stop
good
him,
to
stop
fold to a
him.
bet. It's too good to check back.
Yeah, Johnny's going to bet for value here, and
Is he under betting?
Call.
King, queen.
Ace king.
And Johnny made the under bet.
Thanks.
Thank you.
he's going to dance.
Bang, bang.
That's 500.
All right, we got to laugh at least.
He seems like a really nice guy. I don't know why we're like expecting him to do like monkey jumps. He's a good dude.
What's up, man?
Seems
How's
like
going?
it.
Me too.
Andy owns Gary, Natural Law. Thank you. Signed by Error Eliminator. That's the last time I ever talked to you, Error Eliminator. Thought we were friends, bro.
I know.
Guess you're just secretly like texting,
Oh, hey.
and, like
Nice to meet you.
blogging with Andy.
That's one. Long time no see, bro.
There's upswinging JJ, a.k.a. JJ 4D Poker, a.k.a. John Joshua De La Garza in the building.
There's a JJ here?
I can't see my chips. I don't know.
JJ, where you been
No,
hiding?
no, he was in the picture.
Oh.
You raising it up? Ah. Come on.
I didn't think you'd believe me.
Don't play small ball here. 80.
I didn't want to. You have the best hand now. I didn't really.
I do not have the best hand.
Congrats, Gary, on the pregnancy.
Yes.
Thank you, Jim Klein. I'm due.
Wow. I just
This
got
week.
so much
To win a
information
hand.
here. So nobody hit anything here then. Unless one of us has like a.
Error Eliminator. Andy crushes Gary. Law of Nature. That's it, dude. You're banished from my
What does he
commentating.
have?
The next time I see your name,
I have a 5.
I don't
You have
see
the
it.
best hand.
You'll have to rely on JJ or Rifle or somebody other than myself
Oh, change.
until I do it again in 10 seconds. And then I will yell at myself and never do it again after that.
I mean, who's gonna
It's
have?
reasonable. We're American.
No. No, not right now. Thank you. This guy's gonna turn me into a full-fledged smoker.
Why does he smoke those cigarettes though?
The
Aren't they
Capris.
women's? Yeah.
He says they're the best cigarettes.
Women's cigarettes.
Nick Palmer, thanks for the 17th donation you made tonight. I appreciate the
Europe
support.
this summer, and like half the people smoke those.
They're lemon flavored.
They're really thin ones.
I don't know the flavor. That's crazy.
But they're
Tim
like,
A with A7 of hearts. He's going to raise it up to 75.
Just smoke.
Dave's going to call. I like what I'm seeing so far.
I think this is a reasonable spot for Johnny to 3-bet. He
No,
doesn't. He just
call,
calls. He's
just
got the
call.
button. But, I mean, considering that Tim's going to open a lot of hands, Dave's going to flat a lot of hands, you got the suited wheel hand.
feel like
You
I'm gonna-
block some really good hands. I think it's a good spot for Johnny to 3-bet.
Too loose. Better to call.
You don't 3-bet the wheel hands?
Not that time. Not in this spot. It's a good flat. I just wanted to say something against you. Yeah, you could 3-bet it there. Sometimes.
some frequency.
Like 3% of the time. Which is usually it. Like 3%.
Jerry flops a flush draw. And Dave's going to bet with sixes. He actually has the best hand right now.
That's really not a hand you want to bet multi-way. Even though it seems like, hey, if no one has a jack, I probably have the best hand. There are hands like 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s, and a random jack, and 7s.
Oh, hello, 6.
And then you can cool somebody really hard. And that's what Ryan was saying.
Wow. A pair and a flush draw for Jerry. A set for Dave.
4 diamonds, 4 diamonds, 4 diamonds. Oh.
How good does Jerry run? How bad does Dave run?
I don't know. I feel like they both run equally as neutral.
Jerry's now going to lead out, and Dave is going to hate this.
He's going to snap it.
At 8:30. At 8:30.
He bet twice.
35.
Snap. 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 Oh, he's actually considering the fact that he might not win here. He's not going to fold. It's too good.
How much to see one card? 200. I get to choose a card. Speaking to you.
I want to show him.
You don't want to? Such a disgusting one out. I felt good about this hand too.
Cesar Tovar, or Caesar Tovar, asked me, Gary, I have a question. Who has the worst breath at the table when you play? The answer would be Radley. Thank you for asking.
This is sick, man. Fuck, so disgusting.
They're still going with the Timmy nicknames. They haven't stopped. They're never gonna stop. It's gonna go on for like months.
Probably.
This is what you did.
Dave has that feeling he knows he's beat, but he's just thinking to himself, can I fold a set? Am I capable? He's Jerry capable of bluffing.
No. Is he?
What a fold by Dave. This is one of the most incredible folds I've seen from Dave on the show. I mean, I know it seems easy, 3 to a flush, 4 to a straight, but he's got a set here. It's a really strong hand in his value range, and a great fold by Dave. Not easy to do. A lot of people are going to pay that off.
Was it?
Good fold. See you later.
Jonathan Bowen, what are you looking at, bro? You looking at me? No.
He's getting sicker.
Oh, it's big blind, right?
Big bomb?
My history with sets here is not very good. I have a tendency of folding them and usually being wrong.
50. I would have folded the turn if I would have known you would have folded to the earlier. 50?
If it was a different 3, I would have called, and if it was a different diamond, I probably would have called.
It was bad.
Bad what?
Bad action for you. I mean, everything got, a lot of shit got there.
I could beat nothing.
Yeah, bluff. Or like if I...
What do you have, 6, 7?
I had king 6 of diamonds. 75.
Really?
So I turned a pair with a flush draw. I popped the flush draw and I turned a pair. Unless I misread my hand, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I had king 6 of diamonds.
No,
Pretty positive.
This schmuck next to me told me he saw a black card when you folded.
When I folded, I definitely didn't have a black card. I could have misread my hand, but it wasn't
You're
black.
not seeing black or red?
It wasn't black. Yeah, I'm not colorblind. I'm not colorblind. I'm not colorblind.
I turned a set of 6s.
Wow. You have black 6s, right?
And a classic battle between 6 high and jack high. 6 high takes it down.
Yeah.
Ooh, fucking lucky. Lucky, that was a pick to a fucking first round.
Flying call.
Fucking lucky, man.
What happened? Too hard or something?
It looks like Applebee's steak.
Really?
Not saying Applebee's is a bad place to eat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully it's eatable.
What are you complaining about? Ace queen suited. He folded ace king. He got fucking doubled through with ace queen. It's been tough. That was ugly.
Ace high.
It would have been way better to just brick.
Ace high flop.
And just have to just hold up.
Otherwise, I'm
Less
in
tilted.
bad trouble.
Check.
Good.
Dude, the Vikings are not dead here at all.
For me to win.
It's actually a really sick spot.
Dude, 2 weeks ago I had a fillet here that's like comparable to like $50.
They're usually like pretty decent, you know?
Yeah, and then I got this.
I don't know. With all the scoring, I bet they go for one.
What was it? It's not that true.
Usually teams don't start going for two until the fourth quarter.
It's like rough. And it's like, wow. Thinking the filet's supposed to be nice and shallot bread, and I ordered medium rare.
You're watching 5-10 No Limit, so 1K to 3K buy-in.
Get him to fix it then.
Louis, any service?
I just read it.
William Hung in the 4 seat, American Idol legend. Johnny Vibes in the 9 seat.
Yeah, sure.
Uncle Abe, Dennis the Menace, Tim, Dave. Action game.
We get the same thing, right?
I took an Uber today, so I can drink as much as I want. Keep them coming.
Nice.
I don't think you want to take me home. Why? It's too far. Where do you live? Glendale?
No. For the ranch.
Where?
For the ranch.
I don't know what that is.
Make it 400.
400.
And a 3-bet from William in the small blind with ace-9 of diamonds.
I had one juice
Tim with king-jack of diamonds lays it down.
Give it up.
William Hung, what are you doing to me?
Dennis, yeah.
Pierce is giving the deal now.
Hi.
Ready to talk.
This is disgusting.
Formalizing
Can I
it.
order something else? I can't. I'll pay.
What do you think the live bet now is on the over? On the Vikings? The Vikings? The over's done. It's way down.
Plus. They went for 2 or they went for 4?
Service?
They went for 2 in the main.
Asian menu?
That's a good game. I thought the Vikings were going to fade, but they're fucking hanging in there.
If you like duck,
Oh, okay. So what happened? He was back in the game or he's not?
Yeah, he scored that touchdown.
I would have won that hand, by the way.
Really?
I showed the replay of that.
I think so. I had 7-9 of hearts. It's like one of those hands, you know.
Oh.
Cracks aces, you know.
Yeah. Potentially.
Yeah. Straight
No.
ace.
Yeah.
Glaze 420 with the donation said Slim Tim wins the nickname. We shall see.
It's on me?
No.
Winning can.
The winning hand is
We have some real hands here. Jerry 3-betting ace-jack. Dave with ace-queen. And he's going to put in a 4-bet.
Thank you.
Jerry lays it down.
that could be good,
Ten
could be
is
bad.
10 is good. I didn't see the other one.
Your queen?
What was it, me?
It is me.
I got lucky there. I meant to make it 350, but I didn't put the last tip in.
If you made it 350, I'd probably just call.
I would have lost more then, probably.
It's like high definition. Must have taken it from his phone.
You make it 350, I win the hand.
Everybody's got to be tilted by now. These are my hopes and dreams.
Yeah, if you make it
Why is
350, I
that?
win the hand.
I feel at this point in the stream,
Called, and then I would've called you.
everyone's had enough.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's winning. Everyone else is losing. Let's go. Let's see some action.
Because at 9, I think it was
Get some good hands in there.
No, it was the 10 and the
Mix in the 8-8, you know. Got a race to 50 from Dennis the Menace. Abe with the 7-4 off. He's got position, and he's got gamble. Not that badly. He's not going to play with 7-4. He's been winning, so he wants to maybe tighten up a little bit. Dave calls in the big blind with 10-3 suited clubs.
Check.
Not a good flop for him. They both check. Seems reasonable. Interesting situation here. So Dave has a gut shot and makes a little bet here.
They get the 2 points.
Big bet. And I lied. Dave checked Dennis, who made the bet. Or no, I lied again.
You're wrong on everything you've said today.
I'm wrong about everything, guys. How can I win at this game? I can't.
Dave
I'm
fired 10 high on the turn. I'll fix it. Dave fired on the turn. Dennis called correctly. And now Dave's going to bluff the river. And it gets through 10 high
I
like a
don't do
boss.
sports betting, but what's
Shows
line
the
for this?
3.
Yeah, I said I usually don't do
I
sports
like the
betting,
river
but what's
bluff.
the line for this?
I had mistook.
6 or 7.
He called so
No
quickly.
wonder you try to keep
In my
Vikings
mind
and
that I
hopefully
thought
Vikings
that
will stay in
it
there,
went
right?
reverse.
Hold
Not
on.
the
William
other way.
Hung is talking about sports.
Well, he wants the Rams to win.
Oh.
Yeah, he wants the Rams to score.
Oh. Oh.
So he does. He wants the Vikings to get as close as possible.
Oh.
Defense is terrible. Jeez. I mean, look at that defense. What the fuck was that?
Like if you want to bet the Rams here.
William Hung just is loving life. He has the permanent smile on his face.
Shout out to Sean BB73 making great live reads.
Really? Oh, they definitely know. I mean, I don't know.
You want to do it again?
You would know better.
Dennis has had a lot of real hands tonight. Raises up with pocket 10s.
No, let's do the bounce.
Abe's going to call with his king.
It's not fair.
That's what I'm asking. What do you think it would be?
He does have a king.
What do you want?
I'll take black. So black comes you guys.
Or you could argue he has a deuce with the second highest kicker.
Paid her anyway, so we'll take care of that.
Either way, it's playable.
I'll give her 75.
Thank you for.
And look at this. When you flop top pair, you might as well come along.
No problem.
Oh, it's me.
Yeah.
Give me 75. Who's it on?
Hey. Oh, I'm sorry. Good.
I have pocket kings. What am I supposed to do?
No 10 on the turn for Dennis. That's going to hurt. Against Abe, it's really hard to fold.
They score again, or Rams score?
Up it to 600.
Dennis with a check raise with pocket 10s. Not sure exactly what he's trying to accomplish here. Maybe he's trying to get value against draws.
All right, he's
Not really sure, but he does put the check raise in. Abe calls.
Not a fan here, especially out of position, because now what's he going to do? He's gonna bet.
He's just turning his hand into a bluff, perhaps trying to get Abe to fold a jack. Big bet, 1,200 into 16.
And he's going to get looked up here by Abe. Abe's not going to feel good about it, but he's going to call it. Or could I be wrong? I've never been wrong before.
He's got the deuce blocker, so he blocks straights. It's not funny.
No, I was saying it's not.
You're
I said I've never been wrong before. It was funny.
You were wrong, it's Andy.
I've been wrong so many more times before that. So many more times. And I will be wrong so many times over.
Are you a lawyer? You a lawyer?
I just hope it's not against Garrett, because he'll just enjoy it way too much.
Oh, yeah. Dennis
I said you thought
turning 10s into a sort of merged bluff here. And Abe with top pair is not going to fold this hand.
Sort of merge bluff. That's your.
That's a technical term.
What are you getting? Pepper steak.
It's next level. He can get called by a 4, but get a jack to fold.
Give me the pepper steak with fried rice.
The longer Abe tanks, the longer either one is possible.
You mean you hope he is bluffing?
And he does make the call. Good call by Uncle Abe. And Abe wins a 4K pot. He's now sitting on $8,000
Professional.
He's in for 3K.
And this
Uncle
is why
Abe.
you should make some of the merge bluffs, because your opponents will probably just have hands that call you
Make a merge
in
call.
these spots that call check raises. So maybe the draws fold and check call more than merge bluff.
Abe is crushing now. Somebody in the chat asked how often does William Hung play. He plays the bike quite often recently. He used to play a lot a few years ago. Stopped playing for a bit. He was working, still working, but he started playing a lot more the last couple months. He's been at the bike a few times a week.
How often does Gary eat glue? Asked Project Pat. I don't know, man. How much glue you got? He answers LOL. That doesn't feed me glue.
All in?
$2, right?
Noah with only 675 goes all in with 10s.
Sorry.
It's probably going to get the room.
No, I think Tim calls.
630?
Actually, let him order his food before you deal.
620 without his food.
I'll bet he folds.
How much you want to bet?
Still gets a voucher if he gets belted before.
Well, it's too late now.
Still
We
get a
just
food
met.
voucher.
Well, I mean, I win the bet, but I'm letting off the hook.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's different if someone else
If
also
I booked
puts
it, though, I would have won.
I
It's
mean,
too late.
there would have been
It's okay, don't worry about it.
stipulations.
Just buy me dinner, it's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
He's got 3,000.
It's fine. Just give me Radley, it's fine.
Radley's not for sale.
What about for paying off bets? Dennis with the reshove. This is pretty standard with the King 6 suited.
He just gave us a tell. Must be pretty bad.
Dan Zach tried to buy Radley for
Hey,
me
I called this-
a
I
couple
called this
sessions
for you.
ago for 20K.
What?
He tried to slide me a stack. He's like, I'll just take Radley and go.
Alright, let's go.
We're all in, buddy. Don't worry.
Noah needs to avoid a king and a king only.
I missed.
And Noah is going to double up. Shout out to Mike Sotelo.
That's fine.
Don't know what you're saying, but shout out to Herbie. No, I feel like I'm going to say something.
Verse stinks. Very stinks.
Oh, no, I get it now. I get it. No, I'm not supposed to say that. It's one of those dirty play on words.
I said it twice and it didn't sound that bad.
Yeah, you didn't say it right.
Can someone change $1,000 too?
UMD Philippa subscribing on Twitch. Ricky Bobby, what up?
Timmy Crack Core and Cody Johnson don't care.
So Doug Polk reviewed your hand.
Who?
William Hung.
Doug Polk. You mean the ultimate champion of $100 warfare?
Yeah, the bankroll champion.
There you go.
Project
Yeah.
Pat subscribing. What's up?
Yeah, the
So-
only
so
only
what-
place he yelled at me was pre-flop when I had misread. I did the interview on Around the Felt when I had said that I thought that the pre-flop raise was 500 instead of 600.
So you're saying you should have
And
4-bet
I would have
more.
made it 3,000
3-bet
or
more.
3,200. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the only point that he had actually yelled at me, which made me feel pretty good because he does know what he's talking about. And then, you know, the rest of the hand was just like Andy magic.
So have you gotten a lot of people reach out to you to talk about that hand since Doug posted it?
A lot of people meaning like random, like no one really cares except for like, you know, the people that watch or like my own friends are like,
Like when you're
hey.
walking on the sidewalk to go to ShopRite, are people like, hey, I saw that hand?
Only like 1 in 4 people are like, hey, yo, dude, are you that guy that got embarrassed and lost that giant pot you should have won? And I just like put my
But
hand
then
over
what
my
you
head
say,
and walk
no,
away.
but what you say is, yeah, but I'm also that guy that bluffed Garrett.
No, I don't say that because like that's like it's not cool, man.
So, as an example of, you know, Doug's impact, I guess, or the people, I don't know, I guess most people saw it through Doug's video, not through ours, but, you know, we put it up a week or two ago as well. I was trying to organize this game tomorrow, so I text SoFlo Antonio, if you know who that is. He's played on the show a handful of times, YouTube guy. And so I said, hey, man, are you in L.A. this Friday or are you in another country? He's always traveling. He's like, I'm in Dubai. And then he's like, he can't fold kings right there. That was his next response. He's like, I'm in Dubai. And then he's just like, he can't fold kings there. That's a bad call. That's a bad fold. Just can't fold kings there. And he just goes on and on about your hand. Like, that's what he wanted to talk to me about from Dubai.
So everyone's got a lot of opinions, and there's these other people that made a podcast. I'm not going to name names because that would just be selling them. And these guys, without naming names, are like so dumb to the point of like numbing dumbness that I couldn't handle it when I listened to this podcast. I was like, I can't believe that people actually think this way at a high level, at least thinking that they're at a high level. Everything they said was so wrong, it was embarrassing for themselves. Now, what Doug said was absolutely 100% accurate. And I tried to tweet a message without knowing. I've never tweeted before. So I was trying to tweet a 2,200 character message, not knowing that it's capped at
2,200 characters?
Yeah.
Wait, you're on Twitter?
I was trying. No, I'm not. I have a tweet. I have a Twitter account, but I've never tweeted or like retweeted or any of that.
What's your account name? I need to mention you.
It's I just made it. It's Gary _Reyna because
do you want followers?
My real name was taken. Gorov Reyna was taken. Gorov _Reyna was taken. But Gary _Reyna was there for the taking.
Do you want followers?
I mean, I don't know. Do
Will
I?
that satisfy
I don't
you?
know. I don't know what Twitter is.
So I'll start mentioning you when you're on the show, and when you're playing and commentating, and we'll get you followers.
I'm not going to be that good at like being able to handle followers unless. Sure. Yes. Follow me, Gary _Twitter.
No, that's not it. Try again.
Blue label shots for everybody.
Gary _Reyna, RAINA.
No, we're doing blue label shots.
We'll put it on the bottom line.
We're doing it.
Bradley, you in here? We'll get his name on the bottom line.
Bradley, where are you?
He left. She left.
Bradley, where are you, Redner?
She's working in the back. She's over here. Oh, she was.
Oh, hey, baby.
Follow Gary. Let's see if we can get him up to 100 followers by the end of the show. What do you think? Chat, can we do it? Let's see how many followers you have right now. I bet you somebody just went and followed you.
I'm sure somebody did. That's awesome. I have one follower now.
No, you're following one person.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right.
Let's see who your first follower is. We're going to get it up to 100 by the end of the show. Let's go, guys. Twitter, Gary, GARY _RAINA. Follow Gary _Reyna on Twitter. Let's get him up to 100. Show your love for the man in the booth here, Mr. Gary Reyna.
Thank you, Ryan, for all of that love. And maybe somebody will actually care.
We're going to get you to 100 by the end of the show. I can feel it. You already got 3. We already got 3. Shout out to those 3 people.
We know.
Oh,
what you
by the way,
have.
Johnny
That's
Moreno
so
wins a pot with top pair.
No, not King Deuce, but he had the deuce.
Johnny Moreno
He showed me a deuce. Yeah.
finally wins a pot.
7.
4 followers now. Shout out to Ken Boyle, 40-ounce king, Jake Esquire, and JBTIV for following you.
Yeah, what are you doing? Stick to your plan. Don't have a plan.
You call them?
Stick to the plan.
The TRT Fecta is asking Gary who.
Yeah,
If you have to ask, then
you
will not know, man. OEO. Gary Hero Fold Reyna. Yes, that's me. It was a hero fold. It wasn't borderline at all. I just decided, you know what? I have to fold because this guy definitely doesn't have a bluff. That's what I was thinking. Or was I? Doesn't matter. I folded. That's all that matters.
23 followers already. Look at that. We're working magic.
You guys are a bunch of sweetie pies over here.
Jeremy Stark got you. Eric Mahoney. Jesse Reyna's in there. Nathan Forrest. Jeremy Castle.
God, now I got to give him something to follow. What am I to do?
Tweet.
I gotta start tweeting.
You better tweet something tonight.
I mean, if I make it, like, you know, safely home to bed tonight, that's...
Tweet out a video message from Radley.
Should I make Radley a Twitter?
Yeah, Gary's dog.
Daniel Zach. Hi, Gary. Big fan. Thanks, buddy.
32 followers now. Follow him. Gary_Reyna. Spade Sunshades is following you.
I know.
Stu Gott's got you. Tino's got you.
I know a guy named Daniel Zach myself. He's kind of nerdy. He's got a new girlfriend named Ivy. She's 23. She's very nice.
All right, Dennis with pocket 8s. Abe with pocket 3s. Dennis has the best of it. Turns a 4. That gives both players a straight draw. Open-ender for Abe, a gutter and overpair for Dennis. Dennis is going to want to bet this hand, I think, for protection here, as there's a ton of bad river cards for him. So this is the best street to get value right now after betting the flop. So Dennis is going to go.
I wish I could
turn
argue, but I didn't see the hand play out, so I don't really understand exactly what's going on. I could agree or disagree very heavily on both sides.
A 6 would be brutal here, but a jack comes in the river, and Dennis is still going to go for value. He's going to bet pot here. He just knows he has the best hand. I feel like this one is a value bet. He bets pot, 1,000.
And Abe somehow doesn't go all in.
Pocket 3?
Good fold by Abe.
He's so confident. Thank you.
But ace would have come, you would have lose your pants. Ace, I lose my pants.
Surf and Snowboard asks if Gary is high as a kite tonight, or roughly. No, actually, I'm not. Subscribe now, guys. You have unlimited access to over 1,500 episodes and strategy videos. It's only $19.99 a month, or $190 a year, 2 months off. And for a free week, you can use promo code POKER. And if you guys don't have all that insight, then you won't know what's going on in the booth or on the show. If you really want to know your players, that's what you got to do. Very inexpensive. And we got chip counts here. Abe with 7,500, Tim with 5,100, and that cut out for a second, but we got Dave up $5. He's crushing it.
It
was going to be fast.
Where on this show?
Yeah, on this show.
You good?
Yeah,
Nick Palmer, no, it's an A, not an E.
and some big pot, yeah. I don't know if I've ever won a big pot off. He's definitely won some big ones off me.
He's up on me too.
And we're going to head into the next hand. So we got a raise on the cutoff from Jerry with A7 offsuit, a little bit too loose. Dennis going to call on the button with Jack 8 suited. It's okay. It's an okay call. Could 3-bet too. Abe in the big blind is going to call. He plays wide. And Tim in the under the gun straddle with ace-3. Yes, must continue multi-way. Let's see a flop. And so Tim flops an ace. Abe has bottom pair. Jerry with top 2. And Dennis with absolute nothing.
Yeah, and then the stripes were out. You know it
And then
is, right?
aces count as 5s.
So Jerry goes ahead and makes the bet here.
Yeah.
Abe calls with bottom pair. He's trying to turn 2 pair trips. And Tim calls with an ace.
I think straights become better than flushes too. Isn't that how it works?
No. Flushes become
This
better.
gives Abe a gut shot to a straight. I'm sorry, an open ender to a straight.
Oh, fumble.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow. How did
Let's
it
give him a chance.
Lucky. You got it back.
Did they? So,
525?
So Jerry makes a nice big bet. I like this play. He should be betting not that many hands, but he should be betting really good hands and really good bluffs. And it's good sizing. So Abe calls, and Tim is just like over it at this point. Even with a gutter, it's just a bad spot. I like the fold. And so Tim would have made 2-pair. In this case, Abe makes a straight. So interesting. So do you bet if you're Abe? Is a good question. I would say no, because most likely holdings are 1-pair or 2-pair in this situation. There's not a missed draw on board that didn't get there, really. And you don't want to turn like ace-8 into a bluff. So you should probably check. But Abe, recreational player, he's going to get called a lot more than most. So, and if you're Jerry in this situation, you're not folding top 2. You just have to call. And if he does fold, I'm amazed. He's got a really good read on Abe.
Oh my god.
I know he has.
What, you have aces? Can we get Zio?
Oh my.
You show if I folded or no?
See you 15 minutes. I don't know. Give me half of it. Fold with the half.
Fold. Show the bluff. Do it.
So when Abe says, you can fold, just give me half and I'll show you, like, he's basically saying I have it.
Oh, he had it on turn.
You know, recreational players are not going to really get into the intricacies of understanding in these spots. He's just having a great time running good. And good for him. You know, I've watched him play in the games I've been playing in 2 or 3 times, and he's ran really terrible, and I actually felt bad for him.
Is that Zerline? Replacement kicker, no.
Missed a 28.
You had the ace?
What is he did?
Give the Vikings a chance. Why don't you?
I mean, it's really tough down 10 right now. But
How much you adding, Andre?
3.
What'd you add on, you said?
Tim looks anxious. He wants the next cards. He's ready to play a pot.
Fuck, man. If I cover Abe, I'm just something bad has happened.
That's why I live read. I love making live reads.
No, not right now. I want to see him lose a hand, then maybe I add on.
The whole table is just like, it's actually just rattling back and forth. Got a raise from Noah in early position with Jack 10. Very loose.
You set yourself up so bad.
Gets a call from Dennis on the cutoff. 5-4 offsuit, even more loose.
why are you playing with it off?
Dave, who limped under the gun with 7-5 offsuit, I expect to see a re-raise. Tim in the big blind, who was very anxious, like I said, if you book them, they will come. As far as poker hand pre-flops.
I don't think.
I'm not joking. I'm serious.
So he makes the 3-bet, as he should. And everyone's got the garbage. This is why you don't want to be in these spots with this complete trash.
Yeah.
And it goes full to Dennis. Now Dennis feels the need to defend. I can't blame him. Like, he's got to feel like it's mano y mano. He's got position. His opponent does bluff a lot. And it doesn't matter how shitty his hand is. He can still flop a pair.
Check.
And so Tim checks really quickly. And Dennis checks back. And Tim checks again. Now, without a club in his hand, I could see a bet on the turn, but he checks back again. And now Tim gets there. I think a check is good. I like the check. He doesn't have a club. He's never folding. He could have some worse hands that may have checked the flop, like jacks or tens that caught a bad run out. So I like the way they both played it post flop. I think it was good.
I'm happy you made that speech because I was fucking snapping him. Like, you know, I got the only thing with that.
Turn. No, he didn't need to bet the turn because he's got outs to make 2 pairs and flushes. If he does get check raised, it really sucks. he's not going to get called by many worse hands, so he wants to make sure he minimizes his amount of times that he bets the crappy pair.
Actually, I have 6.5.
If he's
I have
calling,
6.5 with this. I'll win.
if he's calling with those types of hands, all those chips.
You play with him, right?
Yeah, I put him in. He plays the same way. I've seen him win 10K and then lose and then go down stuck 10K in this game.
No, yeah, it's limb straddle. He just limb. It's a straddle.
Yeah, just
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Your cards. If you want.
He's the most ridiculous player of all time.
thank God.
Bunch of limpers here. These are not fun pots when everyone limps, but it does happen at some point or another where everyone gets crashed into a big hand because they limped all the trash
I bet 50.
and all smashes.
To 150.
So Antoine bets with ace-8, four-way. I don't think it's necessary at all. I understand why he would do it, but it's kind of an easy check fold or check call situation depending on who bets. Now, on the king turn, his hand is a lot stronger.
And I have.
And if he did check the turn, he should check the river again. Easy call. So Dennis folded because Dennis had complete air. Now, it's important to understand that when you, on a 5-8 king flop, when you bet and you get called by somebody in position, a king turns, it goes check, check. Now, on a brick river, it's so easy for you to check the situation with a lot of your range, expecting your opponent to make some bluffs. If you bet into your opponent's check back range, you're basically saying, hero call me with hands that would value bet anyway, and I can deal with ace-8. So, he should check ace-8.
I don't think the size matters either.
Yeah,
it's like anything.
Unless it's like 3 or X pot or more.
Conquer asks, is Gary drunk yet? Well, who are you asking?
Like it's
And Sean BB73 says Gary is drunk. Whoever is asking. It's Conquer that was asking. I guess I'm not that drunk if I can keep this much track. So I'm going to work on that. Johnny Zambone, no comment, buddy.
He was right, and that's the sick part is he's right. That's the sick part. Like he's pushing it in when he's gonna get there. Like it's ridiculous.
Not over yet. Let's see.
It's ridiculous. Like I usually don't play overtime, but if he's playing, I'm playing.
Actually, no, that's bad, but overall good. For the how he's been running.
So to all you guys who are wondering about that king's hand I folded, the problem is I should have obviously check raised the turn, and I didn't, so I was very scared to lose the money. So it would have been such a big portion of my bankroll to lose, so I had to fold to save my bankroll. If only I had check raised the turn, then I could have saved myself all this pain. It was a huge mistake by me. Am I serious or not? Give a 1 for serious, 2 for not.
Man, these guys, it's like modern day gladiators.
Yeah, right.
Raise 75.
Alright, let's see what we got here. Let's make it a juicy one. Alright. Heart. We need a heart.
Need a heart?
No. We don't need a heart. We need a die card.
I need Kirk Cousins touchdown.
Holy shit, fucking pick 6 fumble. There we go. There we go. Oh, that was close. That was close. You jumped that.
What do I need? 6 plus a touchdown to feel it?
7. 9?
Yeah. That was
Definitely interference.
that was pretty close. Yeah. Probably should have been PI.
Oh, I don't need to.
That guy still at Dallas? Who's the offensive coordinator?
Yeah, same guy. Looks like same guy. Wade Phillips.
Yeah, wait for him. Please, please, just fucking sack this motherfucker, dude. There we go, there we go.
Oh.
Boom, let's go. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
They're gonna go for it.
6.5, boy. 6.5.
Oh my god.
Hold on, they're gonna go for it.
I got you 6.5. Did I get?
I gotta take the field goal.
Nah, it's like 4th and like 12 though.
Yeah, take the field goal.
If it was 4th and like 3rd,
Yeah, they're gonna take the field goal.
Possibly play defense.
Yeah, it's 2-score game with 4th.
Possibly. They couldn't stop him this far.
Please fucking miss one time.
These receivers are tired finally.
40 yarder, it's not a gimme.
This really doesn't matter for you. I guess it doesn't matter.
Raise 50.
Antoine with ghost cards bumps it up.
Break.
Takes it down. No one had anything. We didn't see his cards. I'll assume they were exactly aces. General tendency for people when they get excited to not put their cards in the box to get scanned until they have
The way
to.
the football works too, it's like they're never going to get field goal. It's like only going to go to overtime or they're going to leave it.
You can see the pre-flop raise percentages here.
The 6.5.
6-6. Big 6.
No,
They're gonna be running the ball.
I think they're going to be running the ball. So
Yeah.
You could.
I asked you guys to send numbers, and then most of you sent words. I appreciate that you were sending any type of vibes there. I saw the good and the bad. I appreciate that. And then I didn't appreciate those others. But you know what? It's his life. William with 10s in a situation facing a raise from early. He's in the big blind. William Hung is going to, I assume, just peel here. He's going to peel. And Tim also calls with any 2. Good flop for Noah and William. Tim with the most likely 5 in his range. So very delicate situation. If you're Noah, your hand doesn't really play well on turns and rivers by betting, but it does have some protection value. So Noah makes the bet here, which is reasonable. And William, I would imagine, is going to call. A raise would be very weird. And Tim does not go for the check raise, which I agree with. It's very easy to decide that I can have more 5s, so I should just go raise and go nuts. He didn't do that. That's good. So now we're in a situation where it should go check, check. Because if you're Noah, you gotta suspect that William is going to have a 5 sometimes or a jack sometimes. And if he does have 8, 7, 6s, he can get some value later. And so that river sucks. More for William than Noah. The question is, will Noah turn his 9s into a bluff here in this situation? I would say that it's probably a bad idea. He might have some better hands to bluff with. Maybe something like Queen 10 of spades or clubs or hearts that he bet the flop with. That is a very good hand to bluff with. Maybe even something a little bit wider than that. But you never know. If he feels like maybe he's beat by a jack or something like that, he could just put out a bluff. He'd have to make at least a half-pot size bet. Checking back makes the most sense. I like the way that both these players played this hand the entire time. I like the way all 3 of them played it, actually.
That's a $20
Very well played hand.
Oh my gosh, how do they sleep at night? Appreciate it. I didn't know you had watermelon left. I saw Dave over there eating a watermelon. I figured it was all gone. This better be $5 worth.
Did you guys know that watermelons used to have black seeds in them?
They still do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not as much as they used to. They used to have black seeds, remember?
Oh, we didn't get it.
They do that with all food.
Oh, they
Genetically
got
modified.
it.
Bananas used to have seeds.
And marking did. Really? That's a bad.
But nobody wants to eat seeds with their bananas.
Nah, he's short. So short. Ah, it's close.
It's close. The way they mark.
It's the very beginning of the line, right?
They shouldn't have marked it very well.
He looks like a happy.
Lucky you are. You got a chance to take some of my money. I was gonna leave. My cigarettes were over, and they don't sell it here.
You got a
so
new
in
pen.
my
They
car,
didn't give it to him.
I have some.
Oh my gosh.
Please, please. Please
I
leave. We can't win with you
I
here.
planted those cigarettes in your car. I knew you were coming here, and I knew you were gonna run out of cigarettes.
Num, 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 num.
Dennis is just eating a watermelon right now. Just a straight up quarter of a watermelon.
Num, num, num.
I like it. So William with aces in the small blind.
The free roll.
He's going to make the 3-bet.
I guess if they make it, they're like, yeah.
Reasonable sizing. Maybe a little bit bigger would be better. And Dennis is going to call. He's got a suited hand, and he's in position. So why not?
I just. They're going for like on their own, in their own, behind their own 50.
Good flop for Williams' range. He's got a king 8-6 rainbow. He's going to have a lot of aces, ace king, king queen type hands. Dennis with a pair here. He's got bottom pair and a backdoor flush draw, so he's not going anywhere. A big bet is kind of a mistake here. I think he bet about half pot.
Jump outside, please.
Okay, that's reasonable.
How much do you have on this? Like 300
Bet about
bucks?
40% pot,
Oh, man.
which I think is
Please,
totally
jump
fine.
outside for 400.
And Dennis calls. I think is fine as well.
Jump off, please. One time, jump off.
What happened?
Oh, fucking bullshit.
So this is a great turn for Dennis's hand. Now, if you're William, this is also a really good turn card for you. Only 7-9 got there. A lot of other hands picked up equity. So if you do have hands like aces or ace king, you could bet. It does make sense to mix in a check, and I don't mind this at all with aces. I think it's totally fine. When it goes check here, it's time to go for value. I don't like checking again. I think there's other hands that we could be checking on this river. Hands like king jack suited or something like that. Maybe something that turned to 10 like ace 10, queen 10, jack 10. You check all those. This hand has to bet, and it should bet healthy. So 400 is okay for sure, but I think mix in that extra 100 for some value. You know, I don't think that it makes a difference. So Dennis raises all in, and I am sure William's going to call here. I can't imagine he folds.
You? Why? You guys are so ridiculous.
I don't think that any of his value that's betting here can fold. He could have maybe ace king, aces, not many combinations of those. He's going to be betting the turn a lot. So I feel like his bluffs might include random high cards that can easily fold. This is not a big shove. I feel like Williams taking some time because he doesn't want to lose his stack. But if he's beat, he's going to, and I think he knows that. So
yeah, so you're drawing like decent here. Yeah. You're not dead. You're not dead. You got like 6-4 against these kings.
it's kind of silly for this to be a jam spot after checking back when you're William. Like, what does the deuce do? What sense does this make?
How much is this?
He checks back this turn to river what to pair with the deuce. Exactly. The 6 deuce, the 8 deuce, the king deuce. It's just not many hands. The deuce deuce, it just has to be a call. And I understand, you know, William probably doesn't play this game as much as I do, and he might be a little bit, table talk might be necessary.
You beat that big, you won that big pot then.
That wasn't like, that
18K
wasn't
pot.
horrific. I mean, he was a favorite, but I was getting like, I was priced in for sure.
Yeah.
That wasn't that bad. But just in general, the whole session.
He played it a little weird too. That invited you into the hand. Yeah.
I definitely
He just called his bet.
I had a ton of outs.
Yeah.
2 pairs.
If he raises there, you fold pre-flop. That's it. But he actually loses to Abe anyway. Abe hit an ace on a river.
But Abe had like a smaller stack.
In a way, it doesn't matter what I have here. I mean, I either got you crushed or you got me crushed here.
A month ago.
Wherever you
You had ace king.
Yeah, that's Ali. Yeah, that's Ali.
You had ace king.
that is over.
Win or lose.
Pocket queens. And
No
the flop
ties.
came.
I'll
Actually,
see
no,
you later.
there's chops.
I'll see you later. I fold. Next time.
See you later. I'll show it to you now.
Oh,
Which one?
Okay, show me your bluff. Show me
9,
your bluff.
Is that a bluff?
Is
Is that winner?
So, very interesting bluff by Dennis.
Okay.
I think that if he was
Whoa!
going to make a
It
bluff,
is- Wow! What a play.
it's actually
You're blocking fourth pair, you have to bluff there.
kind of reasonable. Although
Yeah.
you'd rather have
I
one of
took a
those
play
bottom
out of
pairs
each
that
book.
called the
Wow.
flop that
I was
didn't
like
turn
in
a
my
flush
head, I was
draw,
like, how would Abe
because then
play
you
this
have
hand?
four to a
Okay,
flush
I'm
that
gonna go
missed.
all in.
So
Wow.
aggressive play. I
had-
can't believe
had
William
enough- I
folded.
had enough
And
behind where I could bluff. If I had less,
what
I
else
don't
can I
do
say
that. If
there?
I have
That
more,
was
I probably don't do
pretty intense
that. You know
hand.
what I mean?
Take that.
That's the only way I could win the hand.
No, I know.
One more out.
I almost called. I almost.
Yeah.
Knock,
It's hard. I think the only person that really calls there is Abe.
With the king deuce.
Yeah, the kings, yeah. Well, you don't even need a king deuce. I think just a king
Right?
would have done it for you.
Where is he in New York?
I think just a jack would have done it or something.
Is he alright?
Whatever the hell was on the board.
Come on.
Where's the 80?
Posting, you said? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yo,
Hey, boss.
delete it. No, I deleted it. I blocked it, whatever. That was like one of the best things ever I did. I was wasting like half an hour a day to see what he was doing.
At this point, whoever wins the
Got a
first
raise
point
from
wins
Johnny
away.
to 80.
Is he posting like that much?
Tim's gonna call. Abe also gonna call.
That's it. They didn't call it dead.
No, he got hit. I think his arm. I think his arm got hit.
Johnny in position against both players.
We gotta review it, but it's red ball right now.
I like the way they're playing this so far.
You fill me out, Dennis?
On this turn card, it's kind of dangerous for Abe to lead here. And it does check through again. Again, I like the way they're playing this hand.
No, if his
And
arm got hit.
again, I just don't think anyone had any real room for maneuverability in this situation. It played very quickly, and the best hand won. Post flop.
Yeah, it's a fumble.
There's a lot of situations where there's so much of an enticement to make a bluff, and making bad bluffs is an easy thing to do if you're not really paying attention to what the board looks like and what your opponent's positions are, what their ranges might be, and what your range might be. So keep that in mind. This situation played very quickly, and it played correctly by all opponents.
The Rams.
Here, no,
Yeah, no, 2 timeouts? Yeah.
Raise 75.
Yeah, what?
I made 300 bucks. Not bad.
That's the
I
worst part.
chopped it over.
It's okay to lose 3,000 to him in poker, but 300 on this? So gross.
I hate sports betting. There's no control. It's just like, you know, nothing you can do.
Got a raise from Antoine, who's not using his card reader
I do.
very effectively in early position. Abe's going to flat the butt with 9-7 suited, pretty reasonable. And in the big blind, Dave folded, and Noah in the straddle, which is the real big blind, is going to call. Antoine now has divulged his ace-jack. Good flop for him. Checks it through, which is reasonable. I think that makes sense sometimes. Bet it more often than not, but check it sometimes.
I chopped and then I lost the over.
225.
So Noah leads the 5-3 with no diamond. I think this is okay, although I would prefer a check raise with these types of hands against opponents that can have a lot of ace-X's that check back flop. And in this case, Abe is on the button, has turned a flush draw. Now Antoine, who did check back the flop, makes the call. And Abe in position is almost certainly going to like rush his chips in. There he goes. He likes to use those smaller chips sometimes. So now Abe's made a pair. Noah has absolute garbage, and Antoine with the best hand. Good river for Antoine, so it's really hard for him to get away from this hand. Whether he should bet or check is kind of up in the air here. I would say betting is probably the right thing to do. Maybe mixing a check with this kind of hand, like 1 in 5 times, something like that, just so you give Abe a chance to bluff. But generally, his hand is going to be best. He's got to think that Noah could have a worse ace sometimes, and somebody's got to misdraw. And so, therefore, the dynamic created is he can get value out of his big ace from almost a worse hand than an ace that might have bet. So he makes the bet. He gets called by Abe, as suspected, and he's going to take it down. I think this hand was also well played. Maybe Abe should fold river, but otherwise, reasonable.
Straddle.
Table talk is at a minimum. I'm not sure what's going on with these guys. They're very quiet. I guess I do enough talking for everybody anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And so we got a raise out of the small blind from Dave.
Oh, you're back?
With ace-10 off
Yeah,
to
let's
200.
go.
He's going to make a giant raise. Johnny
Absolutely,
with ace-king
yes.
suited saying,
Please.
no, guy, I make bigger raise. Dave is not much of a folder. It'd be interesting to see him fold a hand like ace-10 when he's been calling with like all of the garbage. Maybe he doesn't like to play the ace high hands that are incommunicado with and communicado. I'm not sure. With his opponent's range, he may prefer to play like garbage over the ace-10. Interesting spot. Now his raise from that position is borderline. I think just over limping is probably okay. Most of the time, mixing in a raise is fine as well. Johnny should almost certainly 3-bet here. His sizing is a little bit suspect. I don't think he needs to go this big. Since Dave made it 10x, probably just make it like 2.7x his bet, even smaller maybe. Dave's going to call here. He's got an ace and a 10. This flop sucks for Johnny. Like, as bad as flops get, that is like the worst flop ever. So now Dave, even though Johnny is the one who 3-bet, Dave's range also sucks on this flop in general. So you got to think about that as well. So if you're Johnny and you do have a hand like aces, no club, and you do check the flop, if Dave decides to run some crazy bluff on you, you just got to be prepared to call down. He just doesn't have any really good hands on this board, any more than you do. So it should go check-check, and both players played it perfectly post-flop.
And you're never folding a flop. You would've won.
A lot of very interesting hands are coming into play here because there's straddles and restraddles randomly, and it's hard for us to see what happens until half the action is completed pre-flop.
Yeah, it's a tilting way to lose.
It's tough to
Yeah,
call
all of a
for
sudden they kept getting sets.
Maybe like false hope. Like, why you getting false hope? Just lose. Lose outright. Don't give me a false hope.
500 on the turn, I'll win on the river.
Oh yeah. How the fuck am I supposed to get to the river with ace king?
Raise 105.
Hearts.
Tim with a nice hand, opening the cutoff. Taking it down. That's boring.
Actually, I have no idea why.
No one wants to play against him anymore. He's so ruthless.
Oh, I fold last time, and it was mine.
That's what I'm saying. Why do you ever fold? You have deuce, deuce, deuce.
I gotta get myself a giant piece of watermelon tomorrow on the show. It looks so good. Like I just want a massive like block of watermelon chilling behind me.
Double straddle.
I'll drink it like juice.
No one adjust.
Chew it like food.
Thought it was only when I did
I mean, technically.
Watermelon is amazing, guys. If you don't know about it, if you don't know about that fruit, the giant green wrapped shell,
No one objects, it's fine.
pink on the inside with black seeds, and it's amazing. It tastes so good, sugary sweet. I have never met anyone who doesn't like watermelon, so if you guys have something to say about it, I'm here, and I will chat ban anyone who doesn't like watermelon. Go ahead, tell me you don't like watermelon.
Where would have been the call?
What do you make it?
Reno Casino says, my dog likes watermelon. He says me too. He saved himself with the me too, because if you didn't say that, I might have to ban you just on default.
Gary, wow.
They're talking about me.
Gary, I'm coming for you tomorrow, buddy.
Who's coming for me?
I don't have any money left after this session.
Oh my God.
Sharks.
They're talking shit.
Sharks taking a while.
Oh my God.
Good every hand.
God, as long as I don't get kings, I'll be okay.
No, you didn't. You almost lost your stack.
Just 1,000.
Yeah.
1,000.
To the flop.
All in.
Ace king of clubs with 2 overs. And a flush draw. What just happened here?
Tired of you, Abe.
I'm sorry.
Chase around.
I had misread the action. I had thought someone had ace king of clubs, but apparently I had misread the
That's what she
graphics.
said.
Dennis is all in with top pair, and Abe with an open ender and bottom pair, considering the call. And I think this is an easy Abe call generally, but he's running good and he's been winning. I think he's less inclined to gamble when he's like winning. Abe wants to book one. Wants to book this W. Can't blame me, bro.
Oh, nice, nice.
Abe folds the second
Gamble,
best
gamble.
hand. Good fold, Abe.
See, the 7 was club, 6 was the rest.
See, I never played with you before, so there's no way for me to believe. Most people are not capable of doing that kind of thing.
See, we did play before. You just don't remember.
It was not much more.
No, really?
So Kezmeister123 says William is playing with his
I
life
remember
savings.
because
That's why he
obviously I know
folded
who you are.
aces.
Okay.
Kezmeister123, I got good news for you.
because
There's an
Yeah,
open
yeah,
seat
yeah,
for
yeah,
you in this game next
Well, let's just say
Thursday.
we don't
If
play
you'd
that
like to
well.
show up and
Yeah.
play,
No, I'm just saying, you know, like.
Yeah.
it'd be great.
That's the
You're the chosen
advantage of
winner.
being somebody
I feel
who's,
like
you know, recognizable.
there's going to be the
Yeah.
seat, there's going to be you in it, and we won't deal you aces, so you don't have to worry about that. But let's see you, hey, you duck and weave. Play that spot.
Raise to 55.
Set the timer. How much?
Got an open and early from William with 7s.
No, he just like call.
Abe's going to call early position with Queen 8 suited. That's a premium hand when you look at it, when you're Abe. And Dave on the hijack with Queen 10 off, also going to call.
Jack 4. Nice hand there.
Interesting flop potential here.
Raise to 250.
I actually would prefer Jack 4 in that situation.
Jerry picking up ace king in the big blind. He's going to make the 3-bet to 250. It's definitely not big enough.
Very dead.
He might want to make it more like 450.
Lying, which I don't see why he would.
I don't think he does either.
Well, no, soon.
You got an under the gun open and 2 calls. You're looking at people that are looking to take a flop. So in order to get value out of your value range and protect your bluff range, you want to make it very big here out of position. Because if you make it too small, it sucks when everyone calls and you miss. So
I wanted it too.
bombs away here. 450 would probably be good. Maybe even like 400 or 375 could suffice. 250 is very small.
I'll book 100.
I'll book 100. I'll book 100.
And now you got the call, and then the call, and then the call. It's all
You
coming.
think that he had it?
I can't imagine that everyone doesn't call. It's the call train.
I don't have the flu. All right, we got to find out if he had it or not.
No, I just saw the Jack 6 second. Yeah.
Jack 6 against. Oh.
Alright. We got it. We got it.
It's
We
like
got
a
action.
15-minute delay.
No,
I'm
we're
saying
talking
that.
about this hammer. Where he folded for 1,000.
And now we're 4-way to the flop because Jerry did not make a really big pre-flop sizing.
Can you text him?
We'll see you out there.
We're gonna forget.
Yeah.
And so he's somewhat bailed out here.
I guess.
Great flop for him, but this is what sucks. When there's 3 other people in the hand, they could have ace-9, ace-4 suited, ace-9 offsuit, some of them, 9-9 and 4-4, and you're out of position against everybody. So if it was a single raise pot, you can just play accordingly, and you can in a 3-bet pot as well. But now you're playing for stacks in a situation where your range all of a sudden gets weakened by everyone else's calling ranges. So he has to stack off this flop, and no one's going to stack it off worse for the most part. Okay, let me rewind that. People will stack off worse, for sure. But there's going to be a lot more of a situation where he's drawing dead when he gets it in than normally if he had made a really big pre-flop raise and isolated his opponent and then got it in very good by playing his hand either trappy or face up, depending on the flop.
Tell him to kill. Tell him to
Got to
kill.
balance that.
I'm going to the booth right now.
I'm going to get you for that.
Did you have 6-7?
I'm going to get you.
It's almost like family dinner at this table.
We have
you
money
know?
on the line.
They're like waiting for supper to arrive.
We didn't have 6-7.
Everyone just calmly conversating, smiling, having a great time. It's not our normal Thursday night game. Normally somebody would be yelling at somebody else over virtually nothing, and then someone else would chime in about one person being wrong.
Oh, I should have booked it.
And it gets really interesting. But at this point, it's okay. I'm here to distract you from the fact that nothing is happening at this table verbally. I'm just yelping, guys.
Turn-in river?
So,
Turn-in river, yeah.
do me a favor. Any of you guys that are cool, say what's up, and I give you a shout out. And the guys that I don't like anymore, who are just being super rude and obnoxious, just say things that I don't like, so I can hate you more. Where you at?
Me and you? Oh, no. I was
You can't be the guy who doesn't know what he has.
It's pretty gross.
All right.
And he just cost you $100 for lying at the table, too.
Are we flipping the last hand? Yeah.
Calm down,
I'll
buddy.
flip.
We still have over an hour to
flip.
go, right?
I want to flip off the back row.
What do you want to cheat?
We got a long way to go for last hand.
Yeah.
What time is it?
Thank God.
8:45.
only an hour left.
Yeah.
I thought they go till midnight now.
What do you want to flip for? 1,000?
Whatever everyone wants. I don't care.
1,000 would be cute.
I'll flip for my profits. I'm not gonna have.
I'll do 1,000.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. You guys just
We'll do
give
like
me 500
whatever for
I'll
the
flip.
table, and then the rest will. Whatever we do for the table, we'll make it up to 1,000. Like heads up. Oh,
What a nit. I'll flip for my profits.
fucking stuck. I don't know if I put my two hands.
I haven't put the win on the show in a while.
Antoine with the squeeze here with ace king. Common trend of the night. Abe's going to go ahead and peel. I'm sorry. Yes, that is what happened. And we got a flop here. It checks through.
150.
To Antoine who bets. Abe's going to call here. Not wonderful. Maybe just fold this one. Although he does have a set draw that doesn't peel off any of the making of hands. So now if you're Antoine, this turn would suck normally. But against Abe,
7-8.
he's just so wide.
Yes.
You could get 3 streets here.
Still hasn't been revealed on screen, but I think that.
And I think Abe's going to fold here.
Makes more sense, I guess. It makes a whole lot more sense.
Probably look at his cards a couple times, not be happy, and let it go.
Any more side bets you guys want to make?
Demuter Ivanov. Gary, are you the poker player that folds kings on the river? Yes. Yes, that's me. I love to fold kings on the river. It makes me super happy, and I hate money. So thank you for asking. I appreciate that.
I'm going to say it's a Speedo. Tidy waves.
Yeah, white.
Yeah, white.
325.
He seems like a Haynes type of guy. I love that a mic's right here. It's like
Tough spot for Abe with this tiny little bet. I don't think he's got it into a fold. He's just got to see it. He's got to know. His opponent could have king, queen, queen, jack, king, jack.
No
maybe
comment.
jack 9, 7, 9, all kinds of random stuff. I'm sorry,
There's
that's
a lot of
nines-
things we can
nines
talk
are
about, but
tricks. But like you can have all kinds of hands that Abe beats for that tiny little bet. He doesn't have to be right very often. He's getting like 6 to 1. He's got to call.
So you want to go to
Assuming Abe could have a lot of
R-rated?
misdraws.
I don't know like what Alex did. Alex was talking about Alex was talking about it was like 7.5.
That's a crazy stat. So, I mean, they play the Cardinals, who had the worst job coaching ever. Who they play week 1?
Magic. Instant Magic.
29 points.
They have a pretty big conference.
29 and a half
Yeah, they would have won in the playoffs too, but they got 2 fumbles.
No,
Who they lose to?
I'm saying the Rams averaged 29 points last year.
That's what I'm saying, and they were good last year.
I was sick in that score today. Like the 2 kids, like Shackles.
Yeah. They lost to the Falcons.
Those 2 kids were killers.
Oh yeah.
But it was 2 punt return fumbles, or I think 1 was a kick return.
And then we had a sick matchup with the Falcons, Eagles.
Dude, such a
They
sweat.
we
Let
should've
that
lost.
12-year-old
That was their
negotiate
closest
the
game.
pants off you.
Well,
Took it
you
back.
could say the Patriots was closer, but
I thought we were gonna lose that game.
It just felt like with a 12-year-old, I know that we're getting a bad deal. He's got to go be proud.
but Julio slipped.
What's that?
Julio
Oh,
slipped
yeah.
in the last spot.
Sick.
40 Charlotte, now it's 160.
I think the key is with that is like you have to.
Yeah, 160. He made it 40. It's 20 to 40. No, I'm talking to this guy in the ear. He's not paying attention. There it is. All of it.
What did you say, rebuy?
I said all of it.
Now this.
Is that Cup? Who's the interview?
Got a raise from Jerry to 160 with king 8 suited.
What's it buy?
Is that what that is? Cooper Cup? Whatever is it?
The receiver?
Graphics going wonky.
1,690.
1590.
Cup and Gurley.
1590. Make it 4,000. Alright.
Wow. What do you say?
What do you mean? He's all in.
So Abe at 3-bet with ace-jack suited, and Dave rips it with ace-6 suited. There's no way Abe's folding, ever. And he doesn't fold. And a 6 of not clubs would do it. And so, and Abe's going to win here.
Wow, what a flop. Holy you win.
Dave with a reasonable hand to make the play with. He's got a suited ace and a big pot that was straddled. Sometimes you got to go for it.
All right, then we're good. If it's over, then we're okay.
He's like, thank me later.
Then we have a chance.
He's like, all right, 4,000. Thank me later. Thank you for what? Busting me?
What did I say about that seat change? No, I said it's going to happen. It happens to me every time.
Doesn't matter. You hit an ace.
3,000?
Yeah.
And Uncle Abe filling up those racks the way he does. I like the shirt and tie look on him, too. Very professional.
40.
Oh, that Kurt Warner up there. Thank God.
And the rims just look like the real deal.
They are the real deal. You're gonna win.
Shout out to Daniel Zach, still nerding up in the chat. Love to see you there. Shout out to Ivy too, probably very nice. And I have to apologize to you for giving you a hard time in live stream. It wasn't that I didn't like you; it's that I didn't like the fact that you were still a virgin.
How many years did Warner play with the Rams? Like 4 or 5 years?
Half his career, probably.
First year they did.
Maybe more.
Officially up like 10K on me. I think he hit the 10K mark now.
Third year, fourth year Super Bowl. I think
If you guys like Dan Zach, give me a 1. If you don't like Dan Zach, give me a 1.1. Making it very easy for them to like you, Dan. Come on, guys. A 1 or a 1.1?
They took out Bledsoe or what?
That was in 2001?
All right, we got a 1.1. Somebody put in the effort. Oh, Dan, it's not looking so good. All right, it's break even now. You're balanced.
That's when my degenerate.
Bledsoe started 2 careers.
Mikey Mace gave you the 69.
He started 2 careers. Didn't he start Tony Romo?
You're doing pretty good. You're about 58-48 or 58-42 right now, Dan. Oh no, that's not good for you. You're about 50-50 now. Oh wait, the ones are flying. The ones are flying. Everyone's and Dan Zach is up to 88%. Help him out. Can you get to now? Oh my God, Dan Zach is flying to 94%, 98%. Oh no, you're lower. You're lower now to 91%. Either way, buddy, you crushed it. Back to poker hands. Got a raise from Antoine and a call from Dennis. Antoine holding Queen Jack suited. Dennis with a pair of 4s. William in position on both players with 9-8 suited. Very reasonable. And in the small blind, it looks like Tim called.
It's a bad conversion.
No, Tim's thinking about it. And Tim decides to make it 450, it looks like.
450.
Yeah, 450. 450 with the 8-7 offsuit. This is not good. This is not good. You can see the rest of the hands at the table. Those hands are good. Oh, I'm sorry. That was Noah. I apologize to the chat. I had thought that it was the 8-9 offsuit that made this play. It's completely different. The 3-bet is reasonable at this point. Completely reasonable.
I want Dave's seat.
I'm just so used.
So Dave's not folding ace-jack. He doesn't fold 8-5. All he has to do is flop a pair. That's it. It's that easy. Maybe a straight. Straight would be good if he flopped straight.
I gave you too much information.
You lied, you have aces.
Check. All in.
They all like that.
Thank you.
So Noah's 3-bet pre-flop
I don't want the straight.
probably should have just been a shove. Given that he has nothing to play post-flop multi-way whatsoever, it should be a flat or a shove, in my opinion. I don't know everything, and I have been drinking, and I want to be drinking more. And shout out to the Rifle. He's gonna be back. He's gonna drink these shots that are waiting for him as soon as he makes it back. You know the Rifle. Shout out to Ryan Feldman, guy who runs the show. Great guy. Dan Zach, kinda good guy. Ryan Feldman, great guy.
I knew I had 2 overs for sure. I would rather see all 5 cards. Lose an extra 600. So I need to spike an ace.
Got some limpers here from early position and late position. Tim on the button can't help himself with 8-5 suited. I can't blame him. That's a really good hand in his range. So he's going to make the raise, and everyone's going to call. Dave in the small blind is going to call King 4 suited, and Antoine with Queen 10 suited, Abe with Jack 7 suited, all going to see a flop. Now, Antoine flops top pair. Dave flops a backdoor flush draw with an overcard. Abe with second pair and a backdoor flush draw. And Antoine just leads. I don't like the fact that he led into the preflop raiser. I think that a check call is better. And at this point, it's kind of hard to figure out how to play the hand. When you're blowing Abe off of second pair, I feel like you're doing something wrong. But, oh, his hand is still alive. So Abe is going to call this almost certainly if it's the $100 bet. And I don't know if he called or not. The graphics didn't clarify, and the pot did go in the way of the winner. But this is one of those situations where we're not entirely sure. Maybe get some backup here, get filled in. And it was confirmed that Abe did call with the Jack 7.
No, I haven't actually.
Let's rendezvous into his next hand, shall we?
Parking's $80 though.
Yeah, it's better.
How much? $80 for parking?
Outside, park outside the stadium, yeah.
What the fuck?
Sure, I don't know if he gets like 50 or something. But
Tickets are probably what, $50? Parking's
not
80.
expensive, though, like $100.
Yeah,
Shout out to Jay who says, Gary thinks he is so smart. Yes, Jay, I do. Thank you for pointing that out. Appreciate that.
Back, but
Yeah, the traffic leaving.
105.
Really
it's hard to get back.
Over here, actually.
I told this
We should just walk like, you know, 5 minutes.
Yeah, you could find parking for like probably $30 if you went and walk by.
Or I'll
charging?
take Uber.
Who's charging those prices for parking?
Like, the stadium, there's a bunch of lots right on the side of it. I don't know, it's probably at the stadium, they probably own them.
So Tim's gonna make the bet with ace deuce of hearts. I like this bet with the nut flush draw sometimes.
But like all the lots are all charging.
I think that the deuce in his hand makes it more leaning towards a bet because he doesn't really beat the higher aces with this hand.
Big stadium, I guess.
I don't think Rams have that big of a following in
They don't have a big, they don't have a big
Just moved here.
Yeah, I mean,
Should
they're
he
good,
bet
but
this
they
turn?
could be bigger, but-
Maybe. Maybe he should. Maybe he shouldn't.
I got, like,
Maybe he
low
wants to
fives
take this
or-
ace deuce of hearts, check it back. make the stuff flush, and have some hands like 8x, 9-9 in his range. 9-9 is about 10-10 maybe. Probably not so often. So betting makes a lot of sense. I like the bet.
Week 3? Oh, no, week 2.
They already played.
Yeah.
Now, if you're Abe with the 8-3, this really sucks. And I think he played this hand fine post-flop so far. I don't think that he should fold, even though he did. I'd rather call with an 8 than a lot of other types of hands he could have, like an ace with a heart or a random pair under an 8 or an 8 with a heart in his hand.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Presidents have what, one take?
I guess not. They would probably show it. You know, they're not showing you fucking fumbled it.
Oh, that's a fumble.
Everybody's limping in with some marginal stuff. We got a couple pairs here, and then a real pair on the button. Bumping it up from Noah with jacks. Headed back to Johnny with 6s. Dennis calls with 8-6 offsuit. Abe is almost certainly going to call a 10 deuce off. I can't imagine he won't. He does. Tim with 5s. Dave with 4s. We're going to try to flop set over set over set over set on this flop. Let's do it.
Six players.
Jack 5-4. Turn 7. We got a set here.
Check. Check. Check you.
Now, if you're Tim, I think you need to bet here. Not just because your image is very loose, but because there's 7 million people in this hand. Nobody wants to put money in voluntarily without having a very good hand in general, except for Noah, who just hates money right now. He's just gonna go ahead and throw a bet out there, a C bet, on an ace 10-5 flop with jacks. This might be his worst hand that he's gonna be doing this with, but there's so many players in this hand that you just can't afford to burn money like this. Somebody's gonna have an ace most of the time in this spot, and then oftentimes someone's gonna have an ace 10 or an ace 5 suited, or a 5-5 or 10-10. You're not going to get 3 streets of value out of jacks here, and there are some cards that suck for your hand, like king or queen, but they also give you straight draws, so it's not the end of the world. If people put money in the pot, you can just fold away. So now that he's gotten raised, I would imagine that unless he's a complete psychopath, he'll just let this go. Maybe he's having a day where he just wants to send it. It's not a good thing to do in general. Abe's call with 10 deuce is just as good as his call pre-flop with 10 deuce. So what can you really say about it? Tim's check raise is completely reasonable. I thought he was supposed to bet here because I didn't realize that the original pre-flop raiser was on the button, in which case checking does make a lot of sense, and check raising is probably the optimal play. Check calling in this situation doesn't really make a lot of sense with probably the absolute best hand he could have. He's going to want to raise it.
Magic, you deal this game 5 days a week?
Maybe he'll want to do it with like 7-8 of clubs, 7-8 of spades, something like that. Like hands that can continue on a lot of turn cards, also give up sometimes, just because his value range is so simple. He might have ace-10 offsuit sometimes. And so everyone's going to fold, and Tim's going to take it down. He got some value by checking, and I agree. It's a good check. And I'm not just saying that because he buys me blue label shots all the time. So many that I can't even finish the ones that I have in front of me.
Honestly, I said it in the booth. I was gonna commentate on it. I was like, I think David could win.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was way more relaxed. Like,
just because
this hand.
No, he's a gambler. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You were really worried about Abe?
he'll chase where he goes.
And then
Well,
he
the
didn't have
second
an
he
easy
folded,
run
you
there
said, I
either,
know,
I don't
this
think.
hand.
Of course. He had a tough lineup.
Shout out to Josh in Georgia,
Every matchup he played.
the guy. I met him back in the day, a few years ago. Very nice guy. He's got a hell of a laugh. He knits it up, but he does make some seriously weird bluffs. Got to give him some credit. Now, I know you guys don't know Josh, but I do. And Josh, give him a shout to the regular home game, all the guys, even the ones that beat me. You can tell them I said hello and I missed them.
Well, if Dan Zach won,
Yeah,
I would have had to face Garrett.
Yeah, the outer pocket fives.
Exactly my thought.
Brian and then Pinzak.
Am I really punting it in here with
ridiculous.
fives?
It's like the top 4 players.
3 players.
It also could have been ace, 5
Check.
suited.
Triples. So Dennis, the menace, flops trips. This is where you got to use your name and your image to go buck wild on people. He doesn't have a diamond. Let's just raise. Got a big kicker. Abe's in the hand. Dave's making the C bet. Let's go. Let's go.
8, 9 of spades.
And he does. He makes a raise. I would like to see a bigger raise. Actually, it's fine. Fine. Maybe a slightly bigger raise, like 350, just so you can make sure you can get stacks in by the river. But 300's fine. Totally fine. I like it. And so we got the 3 of diamonds. That sucks for Dennis. He checks very quickly, and the board texture is really nasty for both players. Now, if you're Dennis on this river, I feel like you have to make a small bet because you're trying to get value from kings, queens, jacks types hands, and maybe like, you know, 8s, 9s, 10s as well. Your opponent would have often bet a flush on the turn or a full house. If he does have ace, ace, that's really unfortunate, and you're potentially not going to get stacked. So he does make the small bet, and he gets called. So I like the way Dennis played this hand. While getting the massage, manages to play the hand perfectly. I like what I'm seeing. William Hung. Shout out to William Hung.
They will not be able to breathe because they don't smoke. And I just get all of their chips.
If you guys are enjoying the stream, give me a 1. Give me a 1 if you're enjoying the stream. Just fire a 1. If you hate the stream, if you hate the way we're doing it, give me a 4. I want the random 4. Give me the 4. It's a 1 or a 4. Show me what you got. No, there's no 2s welcome here. It's a 1 or a 4. Monster hands. You could just leave, bro. That's too many 4s. You're not welcome right here.
100? Aren't they? I thought they're.
I see a lot of 1s. I see a 4. There's a 4. There's a 1. There's a 4. A bunch of 4s. There's a 3. 3.14. There's a 1. There's a bunch of 1s over here.
Too old.
Anyone else? Anyone else?
Just,
Anyone else?
Yeah, usually they just.
Does he have any 1,000 or?
Okay, so
that
it's
all the
settled.
white that I see is what he has.
Yes, he has around 1700.
Got a raise with 8-6 offsuit in early position from Dave. Dave does not give a shit at all. He's just got 8-6 off. He's going to raise in early position. He's not going to fold marginal hands. No on the hijack. Calls the king 9.
I'm going to play roulette. Oh, yeah, they don't have roulette here. What do they have? Blackjack?
And Noah is going to hit the flop. Dave does too. Not quite as well. Interesting to see what he does here. Generally, you'll see players that play these types of hands make bets because they want to take down the pot right now. They're afraid of overcards or you know, being out of position. They don't want to check and feign weakness because then their opponent
No, probably not.
Okay. And everyone's all in then. Sorry. Sorry to interrupt the hand.
Every time he's in and
Have
out,
an
it's
ace
just
king?
doesn't
What the
work.
hell you have? King 9. Wow.
And this is the time of night, guys, where the action is just starting to bubble up. Everyone wants to get in there. They want a piece of that pot. And you can't win it if you fold. Believe me, I've learned this lesson.
No, good. I have to
Huh?
draw. You have to draw. I have to leave like
11, 12, 13, 13.
Thank you.
Still have chips, dude.
Oh, this is 13.35. 13.45.
Brandon David, I see your message here. Was Bart talking shit about my emotional support animal? Can you please give me details? Because that's not okay, and I will talk to Bart about that.
Said he had an 8.
Okay. Oh, wow.
It's proper etiquette not to ask the
Don't
guy
waste
that
time. Let's go. Let's
Sorry,
go.
sorry. No, I made a pretty big lay down before the flop.
Young boys left.
I already know what he's gonna do. He's gonna, you might as well just like try to milk everybody first.
I always want to know what the other guy has too, so I get it.
Yo, normally if I don't have something relevant, I'm not gonna even
For
ask.
sure,
Yeah.
Oh.
The straddle?
Makes it 50.
So I thought you had me crushed.
Got a raise from Dave
Either
here
that or I go all
with
in.
10-8 offsuit under the gun. This is a little bit absurd. Antoine calls on the hijack, which is less absurd. It actually makes perfect sense in this game.
That's fine. Just
It's a straddle. It's
yeah,
fine.
let it
I
let
don't
it go.
care.
Slide, slide, slide.
Yeah, yeah.
You just never know what the next guy's going to do.
Next time it has to be 2x.
Taking a flop heads up, and Dave's going to outflop. Oh, it looks like it was an all-in, and they're going to run it out. Dave's going to win with trips.
Nice.
The return of Snow Monkey says Danzak can make a bong out of any water bottle with a straw and some chewing gum. Yes, he could, but he won't. That's why he's a nerd. He's the only one that can actually take functionality and make it real, but he would just like kind of like shrug and laugh instead. I guess that's why he's my friend too. 'Cause I like people like that.
Said thanks.
Art Shin, you should just troll me, bro. I'm setting myself up for it, right? Do it. Let's go. Johnny with the AK. He's going to raise it to 75. Gets a call in the big blind by the 5 deuce of Dave.
Check.
Bad flop for both players.
Check.
This should go check almost the entire way most of the time. Now, this is an interesting card. I think Johnny should bet the king.
Under and a fold.
Should bet very big with this on this card because there's a lot of hands that he's going to want to bluff with, like turned draws and maybe turn flush draws, flop flush draws, and some like random crappy hands. I think that he should bet like maybe like 80% pot there, and obviously 5D should fold.
Here, no, I'll give you chips.
It's the important part of poker is we have to operate not knowing that what our opponent's 2 cards are. So
Yeah, here. Yeah, I'll just take 300 off and put 1,000 on.
Got a limp for 20 from Antoine. It looks like it's a straddled pot. And William on the cutoff with King Jack, contemplating his options. He's gonna go ahead and race to 100. He's a little bit bored. He's got a good enough hand to do it. And we got a call from Dave in the small blind. Ace deuce suited. He forgot to 3-bet, and Noah in the big blind is going to call. Antoine calls as well. Noah's call is just explicitly loose in this situation. Dave flopping the best hand, way out of position. This is one of those things you have to figure into your strategy. When you are the farthest one out of position, you are like kind of screwed when you make the best hand in a lot of situations, because you have to worry about 3 other people in this situation that are going to make better hand than you. Now, yeah, sure, an ace turns here, so it's easy, and you're not going to get value because no one has anything a lot of the time on this board. So it sucks. It sucks at so many levels. So maybe flat hands that can actually stack hands like ace deuce and not actually call with hands like ace deuce. That way you can make more money later in the hand. So loose poker can play. Loose aggressive poker can pay. But if you're going to just play passively and loose in all kinds of spots just because you're like, I have 2 cards and I want to play them, you're going to get hurt in so many scenarios.
Yep. The first card's deuce guaranteed.
You dropped something off of your earpiece.
Hey, Feldman tells him what to do in the earpiece, and he just does the opposite.
Sorry, guys, in the chat, I can't keep up with all of you. There's too many of you asking so many questions. Some are obnoxious, most are obnoxious, and some are reasonable, most are unreasonable. So I'm going to just back off the chat, and I'm going to just run out the hands for the moment. Got an all-in from Dave with King Jack, because why not? There's some money in the pot. Antoine almost certainly not going to fold, even though it sucks that he's got everyone else behind. But the way this game is playing, ace-jack is more like ace-king in this situation. So, except for when it's not, and it disappears off the. Oh, there it is. Sorry, guys. I'm here on the graphics just like you. So he's calling. Okay.
Yeah.
I like the call.
100%. I don't know how you fold that.
I think everyone should just fold. It's very easy. Just run it out. Ace jack versus king jack. Sucks for Dave unless he hits.
That's a raising hand. You playing tomorrow?
All right, let's go.
No.
No more action?
No more action.
Yeah.
The king 3 clubs.
Heads up or no? Oh, fuck. No. Two back doors. Oh, actually.
Oh, wow. Ready?
Take it. Alright, new deal, everyone. Good luck. Thank you.
She said for you to go 63. Up there. Just waiting.
Yeah, he's probably
Laying in the cut.
Oh, what's up? Somebody leaving? Oh, he's leaving.
The game stays here after stream?
Yeah.
No, sometimes they'll just move out there. It'll be the same game.
The last couple times I played, they left it in here, but
Yeah, on Thursday. That's done. You're out, bro.
decided to flash.
No, I saw it.
I'm
I don't know if
just
you
kidding.
guys
I just kidding.
Through the space.
saw it clearly. I mean, I am lowered up. I don't know.
Don't let him do that again.
I saw the car.
Got a 5-10 no limit at the live at the bike. Playing some poker. Everyone's gambling, some more than others. You can see that everyone's really taking it seriously from their expressions.
Maybe I would have held on to it.
Right? It's like, I don't
Got a
think it's
raise
bad.
from William
I'm honest. I'm an
and a couple calls from Tim and Antoine. William out flopping the ace highs. Tim with second pair. Antoine does have a backdoor flush draw. Hard to play three-handed.
I'll just keep it.
We're going to see what happens here. Interesting hand. So we're going to get a call from William. Tim in position. This is a bad turn card for Tim. And it's not particularly a great card for William. Not just looking at his hand, but just thinking about what kinds of hands he could have here. And Tim does decide to make a reasonable bet here. Tough spot for William. He doesn't really have any draws. The hands he can hit are not really super productive against the range of hands that his opponent is representing.
The quarterback.
Must be nice to have a young good quarterback.
Yeah.
On that cheap contract. Ugh.
Yeah. Sick.
Tough spot. Not having a diamond is probably very helpful in this situation because you want your opponent to have diamond hands. So that does tip the scale a little bit. So if I was going to help you, William, that's what I would say. Although it might be better to fold this kind of a hand just because a hand with an 8 or a 9 in it would be better. Something like Jack 8, 10, 9.
Yeah, and they got Kareem Hunt too.
Yeah, they're all young.
They're all young.
And so now his hand is very interesting because he doesn't have a 9. And if his opponent did bet, if Tim bet here, this is a good spot for him just jam stacks. Because he could have a lot of hands that have a 9, and Tim almost certainly shouldn't. And that, my friends, is fun poker.
Division games are weird.
Jags could have won last year.
But they lose to the Patriots, right?
No, they shit on the Patriots. They lost to the Titans by a field goal, like 9-6.
Yeah.
Almost worked.
No, I mean the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Lost the Patriots.
But
right?
that was, and then
They
there's
fell
only,
behind and
they were winning the whole game. But yeah, you knew
They won
once
the whole game. They gave up that big lead.
Yeah,
They lost their top wide receiver in like the second week of the season. First week of the season. You remember that?
Stroud.
Was it Robinson last year?
Yeah. They lost in like the first week of
But
the season.
sad though, they gave up the lead and you knew they were gonna win. You knew Bortles wasn't gonna go down the field. They had to keep the lead.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, I wanted the Eagles to face the Jaguars.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm glad that the Patriots won.
Yeah, thank God. At least they got redemption. They got to beat the Patriots.
It worked out. But that was a grade, of course. This is what happens. You got 100?
Yeah.
So again, the Eagles go to the Super Bowl, face the Patriots. And it's so
But now they're
disgusting.
QB. They're like, oh.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, this is disgusting.
Yeah, you can. I think. No? Okay.
175.
I mean, if it's only one seat sliding over, I think it's fine.
Just use both the seats.
King.
Or would you like traffic?
Nothing, 10.
World there.
10 jack of diamond, or I have jack of diamonds. 9, 10 of diamond. Sick. Oh, sorry, man.
And that look in your eyes. I want to just rip it back.
I'm like Abe. I don't fold a pair. I was waiting for you. I was waiting for the smile. Abe, I'm excited. We get to play tomorrow. Again.
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 You don't want to crush all of you.
I know, I know.
You're crushing here.
I hope you crush Chris.
This is not playing.
He's playing tomorrow.
3,000 behind.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's playing tomorrow.
3,000.
I got Eric.
Zio.
Eric's playing tomorrow.
No, Eric is not.
No, he's playing tomorrow. Where are you getting your information?
35.
Eric and Chris are both playing tomorrow.
Raised to 100.
Number 55 got torched today. Three times.
I'm sorry? 35. No, he's asking what you better, Richard.
See what happened? Traffic? That's why you gotta leave the house like 2 p.m. Nah, I left at 4, and I got here like as soon as the stream started. It's crazy. I got here at 5:45. I'm in
Where
North
do you live?
Hollywood.
Where do you live? Oh, okay.
K-Town? That's not. Yeah.
There's a place that I go to every time I come to LA in K-Town called Monty's. It just opened. It's vegan. It's like In and Out but vegan. Yeah. Monty's. It's only been open like
That's the
6
best
weeks.
way, yeah.
Blind call? I don't know.
Guys, this is really good strategy.
That's all just blind call.
Don't you understand?
So a $10 bomb
Most
butt.
people can do it. Old man does not have too much brain.
Sorry, I'm getting old.
Maybe too much money, but not too much.
Thank you guys for watching so much. We appreciate you at Live at the Bike. We're glad that you're all here to view the stakes poker that everyone's playing. High or low, medium in this case. We like to see everyone gamble, and that they did. We've seen a lot of ace-kings that went awry, and we would love to see you guys come back. If you guys in the chat could let me know how you feel about the stream, we'd love to see it. You guys still there? Why? Go home. It's over. Stream's over, man. Why are you still here? LiveAtTheBite.com. If you guys want to subscribe and watch all the hands from ever in history. Lots of fun. Lots of footage.